Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Black Magic. We're here at round 4 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. I'm Jared Deanna. Joining me once again, my great friend and co-host, Ryan Sage. Ryan, not only are we celebrating 15 years, FDXV, that stands for 15, but we're celebrating 100 rounds of competitive competition here in the Formula Drift Championship. Congratulations, and we're definitely feeling older from 2004 to now. But the progression of the motorsport, from professionalism to the progression of the vehicles, what these drivers are able to do, and to be quite honest, it's not a fad anymore, right?
Not a fad anymore, yeah. After 15 years, I think we can say that. But we've seen a lot of changes in the series. It's really fun to celebrate this 100th round and being around for 15 years, coming in together at the same time. Interesting stories along the way, and some of them, you know, go back to the original drivers. There's 4 original drivers that have done every single round. Gucci, Daijiro Yoshihara, Chris Forsberg, and Von Gittin Jr. These are the legacy drivers of the series, and they're still here and competing at a high level today.
Yeah, the vehicles, and again, the sponsors. So, and of course, thank you to the fans for tuning in, even seeing the live stream here on CBS Sports. So many components to the overall machine. So thank you for watching and engaging with us and all the drivers and sponsors. So that's enough about, again, let's backtrack to Atlanta, where it all began in 2004. But truly, the story was about Christoph Blush, the Latvian driver, finally getting what a lot of people think he deserves.
Yeah, it was a huge win for Kristaps, and that was the story of Road Atlanta. The story of the season so far has really been about the consistency of Chris Forsberg, and most importantly, our #1 guy right now, Frederick Osbo. 3 podiums for him, and the consistency of Forsberg that we've seen back in his championship days. But the story of Road Atlanta was Kristaps Blush, as you mentioned. He's been looking for that win for a very long time. Interestingly and ironically enough, he was able to get it against Frederick Osbo, a guy that he was so close to beating at Orlando a few years ago. He got that done, checked that off the books, got some redemption, and he's in the top 5 for the championship chase with a car that looks absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it looks great. You know, throw some tape or stickers on it, but we talk about the Norwegian Hammer. He's a superhero. He is like Thor, but we do find his kryptonite, that being Kristaps Blush in Atlanta. But the story is now here at round 4, the Gauntlet, this menacing, unforgiving track. This wall, we put some plastic on it, but let's talk about the standings, where they are standing now. So Frederick Osbo leads the pack. He is in the #1 position. Chris Forsberg, you talked about him and his consistency. James Dean, he is your defending champion, only 52 points behind. That is basically 100 points for a win, so you do the math. Peter Vincic, they're sitting in 4th, and Kristaps Blush, Kristaps rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, and I think the 6 through 10 drivers are a really important story to tell because they're close in points, but they're all outside of 100 points, which is equivalent to a win. So they have some work to do, and that's Forrest Wang, Ryan Turk, Justin Pollock, Daijiro Yoshihara, and rounding out number 10, Odi Bakchis.
All right, before we bring in Ryan Lontaine to talk about what the judges are looking for here this round, I'm going to throw it over to Robin Ishida, who caught up with Forrest Wang in this episode of JE Pistons Tech Talk.
Hey, this is Robbie Nishida here at Forrest Wang's pit, back with the JE Pistons Tech Talk. Just want to talk about how the weather is maybe not being so well this weekend and cooperating with the drivers. What do you do different to your car? Do you have any wet settings? And do you drive the car any different?
Yeah, like main thing, we'll disconnect the sway bar in the rear, let the suspension free up. Obviously, drop the tire pressure down a bit. Driving style-wise, obviously you got to go a lot slower, and you kind of got to wait for the car. So it's not full throttle all the way, balls to the wall. It's kind of like full throttle, let off for a little while, wait for it, and then get back on the throttle. So, you know, it's definitely a lot slower. It bums me out because, you know, you don't got that full throttle excitement, smoke everywhere, but at the same time, it is fun for car control and just playing with the car, you know, and being able to, you know, put the car wherever you want. It's just being patient and waiting for the car so you're not too far ahead of it and you're not going too fast.
So smooth and stylish even in the rain or in the dryer, right? Good luck this weekend.
Right on, thank you.
All right, and we're back here with Judge Ryan Lantain. Joining us up here in the commentary booth is our 3rd member for the weekend, along with Lorette Nickel. Now, Ryan, today is kicking things off day, if you will, starting off with qualifying. So let's talk about the event format.
Qualifying is 2 individual runs. They're going to be non-consecutive. Drivers they're going to get a score for each of those runs, and we will keep the higher of the 2 scores. Then 32 drivers will move on to head-to-head competition for tomorrow. Any ties that we have will be broken according to the lower qualifying score.
Now let's quickly bring in the track map and talk about how you guys have laid this map out in terms of the points allocation. And also, if you would, just give us a little insight. What happens if it rains to the track map?
Yeah, so if you look at the map right here, the latest initiation point will be right around here. If it rains, it's going to be a little bit later because the track changes significantly. So those will be our 2 initiation areas, and we will adjust that based on the temperature, based on the weather. Coming off of outside zone 1 right here, drivers are expected to come through this area with decent angle, enough to maintain momentum, but not too much to slow down. And then once they enter outside zone 2 here, they want to throw big angle and slow down using that angle. Now, what we've changed this year is we've got the cars crossing over here as opposed to last year where we did kind of a kidney bean shape. And what we've done is removed the inside clip that was here, and we've actually added what's called touch and go 1 right there. So the drivers have to go wide to that area. Once they leave here, they want to get to the inside clip and then finish wide. So it's a nice smooth line, and it looks really, really good.
Explain to the fans what the benefit or just the difference in general is of last year's layout with the kidney bean as opposed to the crossover.
Okay, so if you looked at last year, you know, around here was the same. And what would happen is the drivers would cross like this and then finish right there. So there's quite a big difference this year with the crossover. And in the infield here, it's pretty rough. A little bumpy, but it adds a little extra challenge for the drivers. It looks really fun, and the drivers, I think, like it more. It's a little bit more natural going around there.
Now, just going into some of the specifics of the D-cell map, this track in particular, there's been some incidents in the past where almost that part of the map was created, basically. You have this slow run-up, but there are areas where the chase driver needs to know that the lead driver may be at least slowing down or not maintaining acceleration. Explain that.
Exactly. So, you know, right here at the beginning, we're going to see a slowdown in initiation. That is expected and accepted 100%. The drivers are going to throw the car in, lift off, or grab handbrake there to get the car set. And then as they come through inside clip 1 here, they need to do a big transition to get the car back to angle. And we are asking for big angle there to slow the car down. So that's an area where they're absolutely going to slow down. We do see some left foot braking around this area right here, but it's what we're looking for is light use of that. We're not saying you're not allowed to do it, just don't slow the momentum down of the vehicle. As they come through the infield right here, they're going to be approaching that touch and go 1, and they're going to have a slowdown here as they get to that area, and then they're going to power back on right through to the finish. So those are the 3 slowdown areas that are more or less accepted throughout the course here.
So we've talked about line and angle. You've broken down some of the decel areas. Let's talk about fluidity and commitment.
Fluidity and commitment are very important throughout this track. Fluidity looks at the rotation of the vehicle on its own axis. We want to see the car rotating smoothly, quickly, and accurately. The driver should know exactly how much angle that they want to achieve and get to that angle without over-rotating or under-rotating. Looking at the commitment here, initiation is going to be a big one on that wall because it is the gauntlet. It's a little bit scary going up on that wall. It's a very steep bank, but we want the drivers to be very committed up there. And then the next spot they need to be really committed is going into outside zone 2. As they get into that area, they should be coming in on throttle through inside clip 1, rotate the car really fast, and then use that angle to slow them down. But it's the approach there that's going to really matter.
And finally, if they push too hard, we've got things that we kind of more or less call absolute zeros. You guys also have your discretion, but the official the name is incomplete. So let's talk about that for qualifying.
Yeah, the main ones in qualifying are, as you see on the screen there, spinning out, opposite drifts. That means drifting anywhere on the track in the opposite direction that you should be in that area. And then anything latchable opening, so a hood, hatch, trunk, or any of the doors would open during the drift. Anywhere during that run, then we would call that an incomplete. And like you said, at our discretion, if there's a really major straight where the driver goes straight for a long period of time, has to reinitiate, then that would be considered an incomplete as well.
All right, well, thank you, Ryan Lantain. This is the Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Black Magic, and this is round 4 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Up next, qualifying.
play it on Xbox One.
I had chips going on. All right, welcome back here to round 4 of the Formula Jet Blackmagic Pro Championship. As Ryan said, the Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Blackmagic. I'm Jared Deanda, Ryan Sage. Ryan, championship. I mean, are we really starting to think that way? You know, are these drivers really forging an effort? Where's your head at, and where do you think the driver's head's at as far as championship?
Yeah, I always think that, you know, the championship starts to somewhat coalesce around this round, or at least start to shape up. But, you know, that's only halfway through the season. We're not going to Montreal this year, so drivers have to deal with a new track, a track that nobody's been on before, at least not in the setup that we're anticipating that we're going to have there. And, you know, that's going to create a little bit of an X factor. But, you know, I think you have some of the regular guys in the mix, but I think what we saw after Road Atlanta is that, especially what we're going to see here today in qualifying, is we're starting to see those qualifying scores get higher and higher. We've seen a 99 this year from Osbo. We saw a 97, I believe, last round from Justin Pollock. And so the driving is becoming very precise, and battles are lost in these really small mistakes. And if you can get that #1 qualification spot, and we have a driver or two out, it's an automatic buy right into the top 16. So you've given yourself those points, adding on to a championship, or giving yourself a much better shot to make it into the finals. And what we know from Chris Forsberg's championships in the past, from Frederick Osbo's, and other champions, is that it's really, I mean, maybe with the exception of Daigo Saito, is that it really is about the consistency. Unless you're in Daigo's championship year, he had a lot of wins and then he had some poor results.
Right.
So he kind of offset that. But consistency has generally been the key, and we're starting to see those drivers that have three events under their belt that are very consistent, and that's what it's going to take to win a championship.
Keeping your car together as well as it seems that the 3 previous rounds of the 2018 season, we've seen the fans and the drivers be pretty content with the judging outcome. What do you contribute to that? I mean, I know the judges put in a lot of effort to really finite details of what they're looking for.
I think that's a big part of it. I think also just a continued transparency, try to understand exactly what they're looking for, consistency between what's being said in a driver's meeting to what actually plays out on course, having a proper understanding of what we all think the best drifting is, what it looks like, what the best competitive drifting looks like, and drivers knowing what they need to do. I would attribute a lot of it to that.
All right. All right, so we have our first driver here. He attempted to make it into pro, and Atlanta failed to do so. So here he is on his second attempt. This CoroWorks 350Z from Atlanta. Ryan Little from Southern California. Nice shot from him so far. Ripping through. Coming into that outer zone here, that second outer zone. You see a little bit of disruption with the vehicle, but now stays on it deep into that outer zone. Really good placement, just barely kissing that front flat magic clip in about that final hash mark. And tightening up a really solid run there from Ryan Literal, 909. The shredder from the 909. Ryan Literal in that CoroWorks Z, a really solid run here. Looking very confident, Ryan.
Yeah, definitely. Getting a nice start on his initiation here. You can see he's initiating nice and early, getting right back on the throttle, staying high on the bank here. Now coming down off course. The judges want to see full throttle through here, and then this is where you're going to see a little bit of a decel or off throttle, then back on here, trying to get as deep as you can into this section of the zone. And you can see, Jared, that we do have dry conditions. The drivers were dealing with wet and dry yesterday, and the dry conditions are obviously much more exciting for us, but they also give the drivers the ability to really go out there and push the limits, use the throttle the way that they want to, not have to deal with the really wet conditions, because this track, like Long Beach, is probably one of the worst tracks to be driving in the wet on, especially if it becomes torrential and you have standing water. So very grateful that the meteorologists have been wrong so far with the weather.
Yeah, from yesterday, it said, we talked about it this morning. You said yesterday it said 100%, but forecasters saying less than 50. I mean, you said 30 this morning, so we are not going to see ideally any weather today, and ideally not tomorrow. So stay tuned. We are rain or shine, and as we await this score for Ryan Literal, it is coming in again. This CoroWorks 350Z, our first driver, and we will be seeing the score here momentarily. And there it is. So it is a 78. That's a 78 for Ryan Literal, a 78 for the first score of round 4, our 100th run ever of the Formula Drift Championship. Faruk Kawai, originally from Poland, now living in Northern California, this Reckless Racing BMW. Let's see how Faruk can throw down here on this 2JZ powered BMW. Flicks it into that outer zone. Throws it high, but then drops down a little bit. Still maintains good angle. The Nexon tires go blaze past and just barely knocking it over. Oh, you see some correction there, some hesitation going to that second outer zone, some wavering from him. Keeps it sideways past that middle front clip. Again, you see Faruk working the wheel. Would like to see the car a lot more settled, but again, maintaining that angle, but how he got there. Again, so that fluidity and commitment, and I think that's going to come into play here, Ryan, for Faruk.
Yeah, let's take a look at it again here. As you mentioned, Jared, a couple little just mistakes coming down off the bank. A little bit of tentativeness up on the bank, not really getting deep into that zone as much as you'd like. We can see getting through the course here okay. Right here he makes a little bit of a flub. He wasn't able to get back to angle as quickly as he would have liked to. He is on throttle here, trying to get deep into this section of the course, wrapping back around. And as we said, Jared, this is one of the older course layouts where we come across as a figure 8. A lot of drivers, in the days past, really struggled with that bumpy area, and we stopped doing that because we had the pavement coming up there and went to the kidney bean. The kidney bean also presented its own issues in terms of visibility. So I think this is a good in-between, and a lot of drivers think that it's more exciting.
Yep.
The judges went for it, and it looks pretty good so far.
Yeah, I think it adds to just the overall impressiveness of what these drivers can do. And like you said, the smoke signal really got in the driver's face previous years, and doesn't seem to be that much of an issue compared to some of the other tracks even. So as we are awaiting the scores here for Farouk.
Did you see the trivia question for this track in the app this past week?
I did not.
Only one time in Formula Drift history has there ever been a double pass. Do you know who and when?
Was that D-Mac? No? Oh, there's Farouk's score, a 57. So a lot of scores left out there on the board. No, that's a great factoid. A double pass.
Double pass.
I can't recall who was it. Vaughn?
It was Casper Canul and Ken Gucci.
Oh man.
2005, I believe.
And that was here?
That was here.
Oh man. Yeah, now that you mentioned, I can recall that. That's funny. A double pass. All right, here we go. Alex Hilbrun, who had a bad Atlanta round. He popped his engine, but now it looks like this BMW is out for blood. The IMR BMW field suspension. Transitions through. He's on Nitto tires. Great placement of that car. Looks like I said, unfortunately popped the engine in Atlanta, but right now the attitude of the Peruvian driver brings it on home. Great sense of redemption there for Hilbrun. Alex Hilbrun, again from Lima, Peru, coming back after a not so great Atlanta, a no-show for him. DNS.
Well, certainly where he's sitting right now in the championship standings is not representative of, his driver skill. We saw him go on a tear last year at the early part of the season, so he's looking forward to a good event here. You can see just why right there. He gets a nice early initiation. He's early back on throttle, fills that outer zone, and then back down here on the course, you can see minimal corrections, keeps the throttle on. He's drawing a nice line here as he gets out to that latter part of that outside zone, and then nice and smooth through the center here, absorbs the bumps really well. Again, another nice line as he hits this last inside clip, pushes out to the finish line. A good start for him.
All right, Alex Hilbrun waiting for his score. Looks like they are in, and Alex Hilbrun jumps to the top of the pack with a very significant score. And there it is, a 90, a 9-0. That's a 90 for Alex Hilbrun. And keep in mind that we had, what was it? I mean, shoot, a few rounds ago, I don't know if I can't recall if it was Atlanta or if it was the previous round, but we had about top 15 drivers all had 90s or better. So just to give you an idea that still we have a lot of drivers to go through here. All right, here we go. Federico Sharifo here in this Ferrari on Nitto tires. If you follow the Formula Drift Championship, you know that seeing his car out here on track, his team working hard, the Triple F drifting department from Italia. Standing on that twin supercharged 12-cylinder Ferrari. Now brings it into that final front clip. Not as precise as the judges had hoped, but just a very unique build, and I know always has a smile on his face, and just just baby steps towards the refinement of a very unique drift vehicle.
Yeah, and Federico has been just an absolute joy to have in the series. He's had that very notorious incident in Long Beach, probably going to be one of the most viewed videos of the year relative to drifting and automotive sports altogether. You can see he gets a pretty decent start. He has a little bit of a hiccup on initiation, but now he's starting to build up here. I'd like to see him get a little bit more angle as he leaves that outer zone. Coming through this center section here, handles the bumps pretty well, gets out to that initial point of that first section there, and then right here through the finish line. Looks pretty good. It's not going to be the highest score that we've seen thus far, but as he learns the car and figure out what he needs to do in order to get it to perform the way that he wants to. You can see he's just continuing to progress.
And you have to think, him being a Formula Drift rookie, you know, we have a few rookies in the series, you know, Matt Van Kirk, another one. And yeah, so, you know, being at this track, it's intimidating. It's a very unique perspective when you're behind the wheel. And I know Lantain, one of the judges, rode with 6 of the vehicles yesterday. And it's a, you know, you're driving, you're looking down when you're up there on that bank, and you know that that wall behind you is not going to be soft if you crash into it. So Federico Sharifo waits for his score, as this looks like it is Forrest Wang, but it is not. This is Dean Carnage Carney. He unfortunately had a mechanical failure, so he is renting the vehicle from Forrest Wang for this round of competition. Hopefully we'll see him at the next round. So as Dean Carney knocks over the cone, but don't worry, that's not a big deal. It's not a restart cone here. And Dean Carney telling us, nice job from him so far. That 2JS chassis, we saw this vehicle driven by a Pro 2 driver in Atlanta. Now with Dean behind the wheel, looking very comfortable. Good transition. Very smooth attitude of the vehicle, and crosses that finish line. So good job for him, you know, in that rented car. A string of bad luck for Dean, and I know his team is working feverishly to get that car back out there. And the Oracle Lighting Achilles radial rented vehicle here for Dean Carney, Ryan.
Well, certainly you can see he's no stranger to jumping in different chassis. Has a tiny hiccup there, but you can see just how aggressive he's willing to take it to the edge here with this vehicle, pushing pretty hard here. Nice speed through this section, gets back on the throttle. Trying to fill this zone completely here. Looks very comfortable behind the wheel of what is a much different vehicle compared to what he's used to driving. So an all-around driver that can pretty much jump into anything and take control of it as he finishes up here his run number 1.
All right, so Dean Carney awaits his score, the Fast Orange qualifying. That Super Doof 2F Performance body kit being drugged there, but take a licking and keep on ticking. And Federico Sharifo, his score was a 76, FYI. And there is a 76 from Dean Carney as well. So 76 is back-to-back. So if you did not see or hear Federico's score, that was a 76. And now Dean Carney's score coming in, and it is identical. It's a 76 as well. So K-Law, Kevin Lawrence, another driver doing double duty, both Pro 2 and Pro. It's back behind the wheel of his trusty S13.4, or S14.3, I should say. Has the S13 front end on the S14 chassis, coming to us from Florida in Juku Racing. S chassis, let's see what K-Law, Kevin Lawrence, has here in store for us. All right, here we go. Kevin Lawrence initiates. You can see that yellow line. That is the point of no return. Keeps it high on the bank. Well done from Kevin Lawrence. Nice smooth off the bank into the flat section, into that second outer zone. Quick little lift, but now back on the throttle. You can see the smoke signal indicating that he is getting good wheel speed. Now transition through the whoops into that final front clip. About that second hash mark. Good fluid. You can hear that exhaust note. Did not lift. Just right before that second outer zone. That was kind of the only point of hesitation, but let's take a look, Ryan.
Well, nice run here by Kevin starting off. He had a little bit of a struggle in Road Atlanta in doing double duties there, but you can see right here, cleanly comes out of the gate, gets back on the throttle, stays pretty deep into this zone, leaves the bank at the right time, manages that bump coming down nice and tight on that first inside clip, real deep into that first section of outer zone. Number 2, throttle all the way through. As you said, just a little bit of a lift there going up on the wall, but now coming through this center section here, looking nice. Hits that outside touch and go, and now reaching for this final inside, throttling through to the finish line. So good start there by Kevin Lawrence.
As we wait for Kevin Lawrence's score here, there's a few drivers doing Pro 2 and Pro. Why would a driver such as, you know, we saw Ryan Littoral do it, as well as Kevin Lawrence, why would a driver have an effort in Pro 2 and Pro?
Maybe a couple of reasons. You know, could be you know, hedging if they feel that they're not going to make it to all the pro rounds. I'll let you get the score real quick.
And there's the score there, 77 to 77 for Kevin Lawrence.
It could also be, you know, there's a whole other media opportunity in Pro 2 as well. If they're competitive, if they've done well, as Kevin has, it might make sense for them to do double duty if they've got the resources in the team. And I think it's a good play there. It definitely helps out, you know, contribute more to your sponsor's effort, and it's a good thing to think about.
Yeah, Ryan Littoral, I know he couldn't make all the West Coast rounds, so I know he could obviously make Cora Works his home state of Atlanta, Georgia. Here we go, Jeff Jones here in this Doc Falcon. Oh boy! And it looks like he already knew when he threw it in that it was going to have some issues. He knocks that black plastic lining. That will be an incomplete there for Jeff Jones on this Edelbrock Supercharged LS 370Z. We'll see how extensive these damages are, and we'll make sure that Jeff is okay. So the wall claims its first victim here, the gauntlet. We'll see how extensive the damage is here for the relentless one that is Jeff Jones. Ryan, what is the material that that we covered the wall with?
The exact material, I'm not 100% sure. It's from what I heard, it's a certain type of really hard plastic that can go on the wall to kind of help not
mediate some of the damage.
Yeah, mediate some of the damage. You know, we've played with flipping those railings in order to not catch edges and things like that. Just make it as safe as we possibly can. I think this was another good addition there because it should just help roll you off a little bit better. But you can see, if you hit it in the right spot, you're going to make some damage still.
All right, so Jeff Jones, we'll get him off course. We'll do a cleanup here at Wall Stadium. When we come back, more here at the Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Blackmagic. Looks like we are just slowly but surely getting Jeff Jones's vehicle off the course here, and we'll continue with qualifying. Again, we are live here at Wall Stadium. This is the Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Blackmagic, round 4 of 8. So this is after this round of competition. Tomorrow after the podium, we are officially at the halfway point. But now trying to give back to you. You got some time here, so why not pull out your phones and you can download the app, the Formula Drift app, which gives you all the updates, all exclusive video content, a bunch of different ways to engage with Formula Drift. So you can download the app And there it is, live scoring alerts and stats, exclusive FD content, breaking news alerts, get notifications, ability to purchase your tickets for future rounds of Formula Drift, and also games, contests, and FD fan rewards program. And also you could, so Ryan Sage, you were talking about that, sending out all the different goods and shirts and hats to different winners of that constantly. So you can download the app, either apps on the Apple Store or Google Play. So download it today. Ryan, you're talking about that, the quiz and just a bunch of different ways to engage with Formula Drift. And here, you can win a set of wheels, the same wheels that Odie Bakshish runs. Tag a photo of you watching this weekend's event. Hashtag FD Drifts, DRIFZ. Enter to win a free set of Drifts wheels, as run by the number 723 Odie Bakshish and his S14. All right, Jeff Jones is all the way up there on the flatbed tow truck. And all right, so like I said, the wall claiming its first victim. We'll get that black plastic affixed back to the wall, Ryan. And we'll be back here in just a moment. All right, well, you can see the course and the track crew fixing the wall here. So gives an opportunity to talk with one of our 3 judges. We have Andy Yen, Brian Egger, and last but not least, Ryan Lontaine. Ryan, you kind of speak on behalf of the judges when we go to a particular verdict or an outcome and deliberation, but we don't allow any media in for the drivers' meetings. One, why is that? And then two, what kind of engagement do you get with the drivers and the judges?
Well, I like to think that the drivers' meeting is a bit of a safe space for the drivers, that they can talk openly and freely. We don't want the drivers to feel like anything that they say is going to be broadcasted out to the general public, I guess. We have some questions that some people may consider a little bit silly sometimes, and that's okay. We like to think there are no stupid questions, and we like to have a dialogue with the drivers that allows them to get all the information that they need to do it the absolute best that they can out on the track. So if we had the media there, maybe the drivers would be a little more self-conscious about what they're saying. They might not ask the right questions. They might be a little more shy. So this way it's completely open, and we just kind of keep it amongst ourselves.
It seems to me that it's I don't want to say a thankless job unless you're the winner. Then you really are thankful for the judges and the outcome of it is. But at the end of the day, you're going to bum somebody out on the outcome. I always say don't leave it in the judges' hands. That way you really don't have to, kind of talk or converse with the judges, but it's a difficult job. And I would say that Andy Yen being the longest standing judge, Brian Egger and yourself, you guys, I think what, 6 years, somewhere around that.
I started in 2011, Brian in 2012.
Okay, so yeah, right there. So in that spectrum, it's the progression, and it changes. I had a friend who's here today. He asked me, has it changed from year to year? And I would say, yeah, it most definitely has. Like the initiation, we don't have speed anymore. I think we got rid of speed probably 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of a crazy thing where speed is a factor of any motorsport, but not really necessarily the fastest. What do you think really contributes to the progression of judging? And like I was telling Ryan earlier, it seems that the fans and the drivers are a bit more at peace with some of the verdicts and the calls that you guys have made this year.
Yeah, we've been working a lot on what we describe, or how would we define a thing like style? What exactly is a good line, a good angle throughout the course? These are things that we talk about a lot. As you know, we travel quite a bit to different countries to do judging in different series. And sometimes, like when we're in Japan, we spend hours together in the van running from the track to the city center to the airport.
To eat ramen. To eat
ramen. We eat a lot of ramen. Poor Mr. Iwata, every day. We want ramen again.
Right.
But during those times, during those trips, we're together the whole time, and we have nothing else to talk about than drifting. And I know people think, well, you guys probably don't really discuss this stuff very much, but actually that's all we talk about all the time. And we're constantly analyzing what we're doing. We're looking for better ways to do what we're doing up here. And over the last few years, we've come up with the ideas that have come to fruition this year. Sometimes we come up with an idea and we think, well, we can't really implement it right away. Let's start talking to the drivers and the teams about it. Maybe we'll get it done for next year or the year after that. And that's sort of where we are now. All the discussions that we've had have brought us to the point where we are now. I feel that this season has been really easy to describe the outcome to a lot of people, the drivers included. Previous seasons, especially if you go back 5-6 years, the debates or the conversations we were having with drivers were less easy, I guess you could say. Okay. It was very heated and I think
combative.
It was combative. It was a lot more difficult to explain what we were doing and what we were looking for. I think we've got to the point now where it's very easy to understand and easy to describe it to not only the drivers but also the fans as well.
You mentioned travel. Do you feel like that's the progression? I mean, Formula Drift as a sanctioning body, I'd have to say, is kind of the pinnacle and premier international drifting sanctioning body. But you yourself are making your way to Brazil, going to Russia, going to Japan, which is probably our largest partner, given that it is a Formula Drift brand. Do you think that will be the standard, and do you think it benefits people to have a standardized sanctioning body or let's call it a standardized rule book or criteria used worldwide, ideally by our partners?
We, of course, can talk about ourselves in a very positive light. We can say what we're doing is the best, we're the pinnacle, we're the peak. And you can take that for what you want. I think what really helps define the level that we're at is that so many other series around the world have contacted me and contacted the series here and said, we really love what you're doing. We like your judging system. We like how you're describing everything. We like the way you guys operate. We'd like to implement that in our series. And I think that's the best way to judge how good we're doing. because so many other series that have been doing their own thing for many years are all of a sudden saying, we love what you're doing. Can you bring it to us? So like you said, Brazil, in Super Drift Brazil, I'm judging all of their rounds this year, and I brought the FD judging system down to them. They love it. They think it's going really well. The drivers like it. The fans think it's great. And the organizers really are appreciative of what we're doing down there. Russia as well. We've implemented a lot of the FD judging system in the Russian Drift Series. And Dimitri, the owner of the series, is blown away by how accurate, how easy it is to judge, and how easy it is to understand. Brian was just at Gatville last weekend, and they've also incorporated our system in the Gatville judging for the Gatville Drift Series as well. So all these different series, including FD Japan, have really legitimized what we're doing. So it's not just us saying we're great.
They're endorsing it.
They're endorsing it, and they're also incorporating it into what they do. So it feels really good.
And the last question is, they're contacting you directly because you're essentially, such as myself, a contractor for Formula Drift.
Exactly. Yeah, kind of go off and spread the good Formula D word around the world.
Right. Well, this is your safe place too.
Yeah, right
just
here.
like the drivers' meeting. So you can talk freely and openly and however you do. So seems that we got the track fixed here. So again, thank you. Let you go do what you do best, Ryan Lantain. And we'll be back here with more drifting action here in just a moment when I can hear them warming up some tires. All right, here we are with our next driver. This is Austin Meeks. Austin Meeks here in that Galp S 14.5 here. He's running the LS under the hood, and we are ready to see what Austin Meeks can throw down. All right, so we've seen some great things from Austin Meeks in the past, and we're looking forward to what Austin can throw down here. Achilles tires, smoking it up. Oh, and gets into the wall. Austin. Back-to-back unfortunate circumstances for Austin Meeks. We saw Jeff Jones, and now Meeks, you saw that back end tap, and then it just sucked up the rest of the vehicle. Ryan Sage, oh man, make sure Austin's okay. I am seeing him move and make sure he's okay. But Ryan, another victim of this wall, so back-to-back.
Yeah, that seemed like a much harder hit, to be honest. And he also took a piece off there. I hope they have a little bit better of a solution than what we had on that last break. But you can see here that we have a camera that is basically behind the wall. You can see he hits the back. This is a very common happenstance at this event, where you have the back end hitting the wall and then it pushing the front end around and then just getting sucked up right there. And unfortunately, he'll have an incomplete on run number one. Did seem to give the signal that he's okay, probably banged up a little bit. That was a pretty hard hit. But he'll have an opportunity to hopefully get out there and run number two and get himself a positive score. But unfortunately, he will have that incomplete, Jared, on run number one.
Yeah, Austin Meeks will have an incomplete on run number one. We'll see if he can get his car back together. Again, this committed. Oh, man, what a bummer for both Jeff Jones. We saw him on the flatbed go by. Didn't look too devastating, but he's got to now work on his vehicle. Austin's looked a little bit more violent, but as you said, he is okay. So we'll take another short break here, but we will take a look at Black Magic Car Check.
I'm Chris Forsberg, three-time FD champ, and I'm here to check out the builds in Formula Drift where there are 0 engine regulations. This is Black Magic Car Check. Welcome to our first Black Magic car check of the 2018 season. And I gotta say that, Matt Field, this is my favorite new car of FD, dude. Hands down, that's why it's the first
That's
one.
why I'm first,
That's
right?
right, dude.
Oh,
This thing is
thank you.
sick, dude. I love it. I was watching the build, just loving every minute of it. You cranking away in the shop, you know, I'm sitting here turning one wrench with one hand, watching you build your car with the other hand, but no, it's cool. You guys have put in a hell of an effort, and it shows. The thing is sick.
Thank you very much. It's been 5 or 6 months, full throttle, nonstop, straight thrash, no sleep. Don't do anything else but work, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I was following along with you guys as you guys were building your cars too, and I'm just, it's a little bit of a competition, right? You're like, who's getting the cars done first? Yeah.
Yeah, but we know where the power competition lies, which is this thing, supercharged LS. What? Give us some details.
It's, you know, LS based at this point, right? There's not much GM left besides the oil pan gasket, maybe. I think that's about the only GM thing left.
Sweet.
So it's a CBM built engine, LSX 427 RHS block with CBM heads and all their goodies and tricks and everything else. Vortex supercharger, and then of course nitrous. And this year we went direct port. Before I had like a plate that we were doing it, but now we're progressively controlling direct port nitrous, and it makes a huge difference.
It's the best.
And it's great because now, yeah, this thing makes great power, but if you can't drive it, what's the point of making all that power? And now with drive-by-wire and progressive nitrous and all these ways to tune it, makes the car a lot more drivable.
Oh, that's awesome. And then obviously the interior, just attention to detail everywhere.
The interior honestly is one of my favorite parts because, you know, all we do is sit in the car.
That's where you're at.
We do more sitting than we do driving in these drift
certainly
cars.
do.
Absolutely. But HDK really took care of me with like the carbon foot plate, their carbon shift panel and everything, carbon dash. We have an AIM digital dash, and this is the first year that I've had a Motec PDM. Cleaned up the interior wiring so much, and Cobra was nice enough to do some custom seats for me, carbon backed, and just trying to build it as lightweight and simple as possible. But you know, when you build simple, it kind of gets overcomplicated in the same way.
Overcomplicated way too quick. I mean, you can see the sequential handle coming through there. That looks real simple, right? So, but yeah, like, you know, getting the seats to match and everything. Like I said, attention to detail throughout. Sweet.
Oh, you want to see one of my favorite parts?
Let's see it.
This stupid door handle right here. But when I was looking through HDK's list of parts, they said door handles, right? I'm like, okay, maybe that's like this, or maybe that's so I can get in the car. You want to know what shows up for 75-year-old pop? Those!
Look, that's a screaming deal, man. Yeah.
75-year-old each.
Yeah, why not?
That's it.
I'll take 4 for my spare doors. So I was walking around the corner, I just realized that this whole thing is carbon.
Be careful where you lean, dude.
There's not much back here. No, I love it. It's like all torn apart. You guys obviously doing some work on tonight, but yeah, the way this thing comes together, all the carbon pieces, and just how durable and also flexible everything is, it's so hard to describe. It's like you can put your finger into it, but look at it.
It holds up a whole quarter panel.
No, it's great.
Exactly. Rear-mounted radiator and fitting a quick change back here. It was a lot to jam in the back. When I first started working on the car, I was like, oh, there's so much room back here. And then the last thing I did was place the nitrous bottle, and I was like, I don't even know where I'm gonna put this thing. Like, ah. But fortunately, it all laid out. There's just enough room, and so far it stays cool, and it seems to be holding.
That's good then, right? Yeah, I mean, it's still together, sort of. We'll get a bumper back on there.
Yeah, and we're good to go. Exactly.
No problem, man. Well, no, this thing is killer. Front to back, top to bottom. Love it. Absolutely, man. Good job, dude. Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Kill it.
Play it on Xbox One.
Buy one bottle of Regain,
All right, welcome back here. As you can see, we still have a cold track here as the officials. Again, we wanted to basically kind of minimize damage to the vehicles by applying the black to the wall, but it has reared its ugly head as kind of being a problematic issue because it takes quite a bit of time here to reapply it back to the wall, Ryan.
Yeah, and we've had 2 vehicles back to back make contact with the wall. Austin a little bit harder than Jeff Jones, and obviously we had a piece fly over the railing there, and they're being real sticklers about wanting to get it back on, and so it's giving us a little bit of a delay, hoping we can get going here and get into qualifying. So we're quite a bit in here, and we want to get the show on the road, so to speak, there, Jared.
Yep, so we got a nice, decent breeze here, so I know that, Ryan, you had to mitigate a lot of phone calls and emails and people saying rain or shine, and I know right now it's beautiful weather. It's ideal.
Yeah, it was crazy. We came into the middle past half of the week, and it was basically 90-100% rain, and then we show up here this morning. It's changed in weather.com, and it's a beautiful day right now. We've got that breeze, which is always really helpful, especially for this track where the smoke can just kind of sit there and be real problematic. I hope we get this kind of weather tomorrow, and it continues on through the final matchup.
All right, so as it looks like we are getting the track officials off the course here with their brooms and the black plastic adhered back to that K-rail there, the Jersey wall, fitting that we're here in Jersey. But as we get that back strapped in, a good opportunity to offer you an opportunity to win a MagnaFlow exhaust, courtesy of MagnaFlow. Win a free MagnaFlow exhaust, text MF Drift, MF as in MagnaFlow Drift, to 555-888. Again, MF Drift to 555-888. Also, join the community, join the conversation. Go to formuladee.com and upload Embrace the Heat, start the conversation, join the community. Go to formuladee.com, hover over the button, click it, stick it, and join the community. Go to formuladee.com. All right. Looks like grabbing their trusty brooms. And we'll tighten that up. So a short, quick commercial break. Next stop will be continue with qualifying. Let's go, guys. Keep it off the walls. Here at round 4, the Formula Drift Blackmagic Pro Championship Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Blackmagic. All right, we are back, and it looks like our next vehicle is wheeling his way into the gauntlet here at Wall Stadium Speedway. All right, Kyle the Menace Mohan here, American Ethanol Mazda Trix MX-5. About to throw down here. Kyle Mohan just seeming to really work well with that car. He had a great qualifying run in Atlanta. We'll see how this track suits his style. As Kyle Mohan with his first qualifying run here at the gauntlet. And away they go. Send it. Mohan ripping through the gears. Keeps it off the wall. Nice job. Man, absolutely zinging it right now. Woo! Ear-piercing exhaust note into that second outer zone. You can hear him lift, just sliding it into the crease. And all the way through into that front clip. And now he's going to tighten it up. Tighten it up to the final front clip. Gets about the second and a half, about 2.5 hash mark there. Make some noise for Kyle Mohan if he didn't make enough noise here in the lone rotary in competition.
Well, Kyle Mohan, Jared, had arguably one of the best competitive events he had last event at Road Atlanta. It was some of the best driving that we've seen from him. He really let loose. He had a credible battle with Peter Vinsek that went one more time. And looking to build off that momentum here at Wall. You can see now coming down off the bank, hitting this second outer zone here, trying to keep it nice and fluid, finishing up that zone, coming off just a touch early there as he comes through that center section, managing pretty well, back on the throttle here through that outside touch and go. And then finishing up strong as Kyle Mohan, a flame there for good measure. Run number 1 in the books.
Got the heart of a dragon there underneath that thing. Loud and proud, the lone rotary, waiting for his score. And Kyle Mohan, scores are coming in. And it is a pretty solid score for him, seeing them come in over our official shoulder. And an 82 for Kyle Mohan. That's an 82 for Mohan. As next up, the Jerry Yang Racing GTR. Again, another Formula Drift rookie. We've seen that vehicle before with a now Formula Drift staff member, Robbie Nishida. He debuted that vehicle last year. So the Jerry Yang Racing GTR with Toguchi behind the wheel. Kazuya Toguchi on his first qualifying run. Achilles radials on the corners. Throws it in, medium to high line. Whoa, flirts with the wall, and he goes into it. And that was a hard hit in the latter portion. You could see that bash bar piece. And just an unfortunate hit. Again, this very unforgiving wall. Whew. So a very unfortunate turn of events here. Our third driver going into the wall. Don't know how this compares to previous years, but man, already the gauntlet showing you why it is deemed that name. All right, so again, another vehicle claimed here by the Wall Monster. Let's take a look at the top qualifying run here. This is Alex Hilbrun. He scored a 90 earlier. Again, slowly crawling through here in qualifying. Hilbrun, you can see him just keeping it high and tight. Good transition. You see him really tight to that front clip, getting to that crease, and they're setting themselves up, just putting that back bumper right where that transition meets the flat portion. Now through the whoop section, you can see that front clip, attitude of the car really settled, and then that final front clip, eyes on the prize. Solid job by that IMR vehicle. He is our current #1 qualifier, but quite a few vehicles to go as we're not even at the halfway point of the first run from these drivers. And each driver has another run. So 2 non-consecutive runs, and we are crawling our way through here, qualifying. And not for the lack of these drivers trying to push it to the limit, but pushing a little too hard into the wall. We'll get this Taguchi GTR off the track. We come back. More qualifying here at a very menacing Wall Stadium Speedway. All right, fellas, let's keep it off the walls. Another delay here. We are live here at Wall Stadium Speedway. The Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Black Magic. Round 4 of 8, the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. We are seeing the Toyota Supra on Nexon tires of Rad Dan. He is making his way to the start line. He is our next driver to have his way with this course. Let's keep it off the walls, guys. And we can continue here with qualifying. Ryan, just a kind of a slow trickle, a little drip.
Yeah, I think keep telling the drivers to keep it off the walls is like telling humans not to breathe.
Yeah,
drivers want to get gangster.
Okay, I'm with that.
But we want to go a little bit faster. We want to clean up faster.
Right. Hold your breath here. Rad Dan throws it in. Nice job. Really good angle. That's great proximity to that wall. One and done. Well done there from Rad Dan. Here popping into the crease. You see those hash marks that the judge have laid down. Really a solid job here. Oh, and a big hiccup there. As Dan wanted to bring it out, he shortened up that line. Up until that point, it was a really promising run there from Rad Dan.
Yeah, well, you're right, Jared. He did have that mistake towards the end, and it was a mistake of aggression, which is what you like to see. Big angle coming through the center. But I think the story for Dan this year has really just been how much he fits in to the Pro Championship Series. He's looked like an amazing driver throughout the entirety of this season, and you expect great things from him. You can see the first half of this run is pretty solid. He's quick, very fluid through this section here. A lot of throttle control, and then coming through here, watch, a lot of angle in the car and just a bit too much. He has to pull off that outside touch and go. You can see he comes on that inside line, so he'll have a little bit of a mistake there, but I think it's a good run for him in run number 1, something to build off and move into run number 2.
I would definitely agree with you. I would attribute a lot of Dan Burkett's success to just confidence. You know, this is a sophomore season. Last year, debuting the car in Long Beach, and you know, just where the car has gone from round 1 in 2017 season to where he's at now is quite a different vehicle setup. The car looks like it looks loose, but it looks tight. He just has all the makings. You know, being just a kind of a iconic car, the Toyota Supra. It's cool to see it out there.
Yeah, definitely. It gives a nice throwback, and you know, it's up there competing with the best of the new chassis out there. You know, so you have an old chassis coming out in the game and representing, keeping it clean.
Yep. Well, speaking of a new chassis and iconic vehicle, the Ford Mustang is up next. Vaughn Gittin Jr., former Formula Drift champion. Him and his lovely wife just announced that they're preggers and expecting, so that's an exciting news. So there's going to be a VG3, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Dan Burkett there with a 74 there for Dan Burkett. A 74 for Rad Dan. Next up, this Monster Energy Nitto tire, Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Vaughn Gittin Jr. All right, so you can see the current standings here in the Fast Orange qualifying. Vaughn Gittin Jr. about to throw it down. Vaughn Gittin Jr., the attitude of that vehicle gets nasty. Look at that front right wheel lifting. Once again, through wheel motion, past that front clip, into that second outer zone. Well done there, boom. Taking out that carbon fiber splitter there, that RTR splitter. Bogging down, but hammers down across the finish line. A very signature Vaughn Gittin Jr. run. Loud and proud. Let's walk us through it here again, Ryan.
Yeah, a nice start here for Vaughn. You know, we had that really tough battle with Ryan Turk in the top 32 in Road Atlanta. One more time ensued there, and Vaughn went out, but you can see here the driving is right up there, top notch. Stays deep into that first outer zone. Could have done a little bit deeper there towards the wall, but deep enough to get a good amount of points for that section, and then down through the center section on that inside clip. Now here through the power alley, bouncing around, 3-wheel motion, nice and tight on that final inside clip, and then through the finish line for Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Hitting switches on snitches here as Vaughn Gittin Jr. awaits his score. We're seeing Dominican Republic's own Jonathan Castro coming down the chute as Vaughn's score is being tallied and entered. So Castro's next as Vaughn Gittin Jr. scores an 87, an 8-7. It's an 87 for Vaughn Gittin Jr. as Jonathan Castro is on the start line. Gerdo Metodon, next entire Toyota Racing Toyota 86. Okay, so Castro ready to throw down on his first qualifying run. Castro just talking about confidence and talking about just in the seat more. Castro, well done. Man, just thinking about just how the attitude of these vehicles has changed over the years from that transition to the flat bottom. That is no longer an issue whatsoever. And Castro really tight to that front clip. Consistent throttle control. You can hear that exhaust note. About the second hash mark, a solid, very clean run there for Jonathan Castro, Ryan.
Yeah, definitely the Castro that we're used to seeing here had a really interesting suspension malfunction in last round, if you want to go back and check that out on the replay list. But here you can see Castro fully charging forward, back on the throttle, nice and mid-high line on that bank. Great smoke coming off, deals with that bump very well. Now he's into this second outer zone here, back on throttle, smoke line starting to regenerate. Getting on that second hash mark. And now here through the center section, that inside, hitting that outside touch and go, and then right in this last inside clip here, Castro, solid run. You can see the hash marks there really getting beat up, and Castro was right on that second one on the latter part of that outside zone.
All right, so Castro awaiting his score. Where does he land? Next up, another Formula Drift rookie, Matt Van Kirk. And Castro's score is in. Man, the flag, big stars driving. There's the 80, an 8-0 for Jonathan Castro. So just a nice breeze. Seems to be changing directions. But like you said, Ryan, it clears out the smoke, keeps our fans cool. And Matt Van Kirk, Formula Drift rookie here from the Pacific Northwest. About to throw it down. There we go. Oh, looks like some came off his car there right on initiation. Goes to initiate. Kind of a crawl here as he makes his way through. Now into that second outer zone. Very, very clean, subtle line here. Nice job. Very fluid, Ryan Van Kirk. And Van Kirk powers through the finish line, and oof. Looks like, yeah, Ryan, looked like right off the start line something fell off, and you thought it was an intake filter?
It's hard to make out from here, but there we go. He almost ran it over, whatever it was.
Yeah, almost hit it. All right, so
here's Van Kirk out of the start line. There he goes. You can see it right there fall off. Gets that slow rolling initiation, back on throttle just about a quarter way through. You can see he's on a mid-lower line. Now comes off the bank, hits that inside clip. Pretty decent transition into this second outer zone. Stays on the throttle through that section, keeps that smoke line nice and consistent. You can see reaching out into that deeper section of that outside zone number 2, then through the center section there, dealing with the bumps pretty well. Nice and tight on that final inside. And here he is one more time. You can see out there just a bit past that third marker. A couple little minor adjustments with the front wheels, but overall, Jared, like you said, pretty decent fluidity throughout the course.
Closet Creations, Popeye Energy, S13 here on Achilles tires. And Van Kirk's score is in. And it's a 76 for MVK, Matt Van Kirk. Next up, another S chassis, this with a Ford power plant under the hood from Medford, Oregon. World War Kaufman here in that 959. This machine was built to shred, is the words that are placed on the wing of this vehicle. And Kaufman, a very exciting, fun driver to watch. Seems that he has just really found his safe place, as we were talking with Lantain earlier. Whoa, Kaufman throws it in. Big, nasty initiation. Has to take some angle out of it, but then gets back into it. Really ripping this thing around. Snaps into that second outer zone. Very fluid. You can see by the smoke trail through the whoop section Doesn't get all the way to the outside, touch and go. But like I said, just a very fierce, aggressive driver when he wants to be, when he's in that comfortable space, when he's in the right mental space. You know, he's done some stage rally racing before, and seems that he's hitting his stride here this year.
We can see the approach here dropping down, big initiation there, and he gets off throttle for a second, has to make that adjustment, pull a little bit of angle out of it. But again, Jared, you know, when they make mistakes, it's always, I feel like that it's a little bit better when they make them by doing aggressive things that are really hard to do. And you got to give credit there to Kaufman. A lot of throttle here, big smoke line, finishing up that second outer zone. Now through that center section there, you can see locks in his angle, hits that outside touch and go, bit tight on the inside there, but overall, pretty aggressive run by Matt Kaufman, should get him a decent score.
Okay, so Kaufman awaiting a score. The numbers are coming in pretty decent here. And again, you have to think, you know, the judges know we're kind of working our way up from the bottom as far as the current standings to our currently #1 seated driver, or as overall standings, and that's Osbo. And there's a 79 for Matt Kaufman. That's a 7-9 for Matt Kaufman. Next up, Formula Drift rookie Dirk Stratton. Dirk Stratton, the drift vet, this number 33, the Lingenfelter Achilles tire. He's now got Anke wheels on the corner. And Dirk, one of 2 Corvettes here in competition this year. They saw battle in Atlanta. Matt Field came out on top, but Dirk Stratton from Ohio, definitely a fierce competitor. Dirk Stratton transitions, exploding that front clip. Snappy transition into that second outer zone. Very fluid from Dirk. Yeah, ripping through the gears, getting that outer zone, about that second hash mark from Stratton. And across the finish line. A solid job there from that Stratton Chevrolet sponsored. He's on Fortunato on the corner suspension, Lingenfelter horsepower. Ryan?
Well, you can certainly see why he has been one to watch this year. Very aggressive run, but the execution was right there. He has that much faster roll, not a super aggressive initiation, but nice line being drawn there up on the top of the bank. Just a little tap there. Look at that nice, nasty switch in there into that second outer zone. Holds the angle, big throttle here, leaving that second outer zone. Just off for a second, then back on, almost mirroring the deceleration area. So you can see that Stratton really understands what he needs to do on this course here, and a strong overall performance for him on run #1, getting him a good opportunity to better his run in run at #2. We'll see where he slots in there overall.
All right, so seeing his fluidity and commitment score coming in, angle, a big angle score there. Lacking a little bit in the line area, and we saw that he went past that front clip, and that really could have thrown him off of his game. But there it is, an 80. That's an 8-0 and 8-0. So about consistent with what everyone else has been putting down. So again, some opportunity there for some more points left out there. He currently stands in 4th. Working our way through the drivers' field and grid. Michael Essa, former Formula Drift champion. Essa Autosports Achilles tires. Coming us all the way from Southern California. Michael Essa. With his true turbocharged BMW power plant under the hood, as opposed to some of the other BMWs you've seen over the years with different V8s, including that of Christoph Splush, the 2J under the hood of Farouk. Here comes Michael Essa, all BMW. Bavarian Motorworks, Essa Autosports. Ripping through, wide off of that clip, very fast through the course right now. Big, massive angle there. All the way to the outside zone there, Ryan. That touch and go, but it does throw him off. Could not get that grip, that forward grip to get tight to that front clip, but a really good execution there from Michael Essa.
Well, one of the better wall rides that we've seen so far. You can see he's gonna drop down for a second there. Big initiation, then right back on throttle. Keeps that rear bumper very close to that outside wall. Now coming down off the bank here. You can see he's gonna be a little bit long on that inside clip, but he's able to get back around, draw a line into the second outer zone here. And as he finishes up the zone, he leaves right on that 3rd hash mark, so deep into that zone. And then, like as you said, Jared, gets out to that touch and go, but the line that he draws is a little bit wide, pushes him a bit outside that third hash mark right before the finish line. But overall, a couple line mistakes, but great execution.
Michael Essa awaiting his score as we see the other RTR Ford Mustang. Looks like the white lipstick there on the BC Racing Netto Tires Ford Performance Mustang RTR of Chelsea DeNofa. Essa with an 84 for Michael Essa in his BMW. Here comes Chelsea DeNofa. Used to be say howdy, get rowdy. Now it's ready to rowdy. All right, looks like he is clear to send, and here we go. Chelsea DeNofa, very exciting driver to watch. No risk it, no biscuit. He is an all-out, flat-out driver. Chelsea DeNofa throws it in, drops down the bank quite a bit. Now powers through into that first front clip. Into the crease, goes DeNofa. Really tight to that front. Getting all the way out to that, up the second hash mark, similar to that of Essa, but does tighten it up. And make some noise for Chelsea DeNofa. If he already didn't make enough.
Well, definitely the aggression that we've come to expect from Chelsea DeNofa. Let's take a look here as we go back to the initiation. Snaps right into it, back on throttle pretty quickly. Now he's nice and high here, but watch as he comes off the bank a bit early. Could have stayed in that zone a little bit longer. You can see a little bit more angle through that section there, but you can see as DeNofa gets back on throttle here, tons of smoke being generated right on that first hash marker. So struggling with the line a little bit here, but an overall very aggressive run, gets out to that outside touch and go, and then wrapping back around for this final inside here is Chelsea DeNofa with run number 1 in the books.
Yeah, Ryan, again, Chelsea, a very, I don't want to say just kind of really goes for it, a very aggressive driver that was timid by compared to previous Chelsea runs, but it still gets him a decent score here with a 78 for Chelsea DeNofa. And here's the other Corvette that is competing in Formula Drift Championship here in 2018. Matt Field, the beast from the Bay, in this Falcon Tires Wish Auto Corvette. Great looking car. Saw that Black Magic car check with him and Forsberg. Here comes Matt Field. What's he gonna do? The 777. Matt initiates. High on the bank. Probably the highest we've seen without hitting it, Ryan. Solid snap into the second crease. That second outer zone. Matt really gets, oh, and you saw a little bit of correction there. Got out of shape, but stays with it, stays pin it. On that second hash mark, it's a pretty good execution there for Matt Field.
Well, we really got a good look into how this vehicle was being put together. Matt Field was really transparent about the build and everything that he was putting into it, and then it was such an anticipated build, and you can see why here. Beautiful job up on top of the bank, stays into that zone for a very long time. Nice and tight on that first inside clip. Great angle as he enters this second outer zone. Maybe could have done that a tiny bit cleaner there, but you can see as he makes that mistake coming out of the zone, that's probably the most noticeable one. But quickly adjusts, gets out to that outside touch and go. Wide line wrapping around to that last inside clip, and through the finish line is Matt Field.
Matt Field awaiting his score. Look at that Falcon evidence in the air. Like you said, Ryan, you could see just a quick little bobble there as he exited that second outer zone. How's it going to impact his score? Not too bad, an 89 for Matt Field. You can see line 28, angle 26, style 35. Right?
Yeah, I was just going to say, and you have to remember the way that the course is broken up. It's basically line and angle areas, each worth 5 points.
Right.
And then 40 points for fluidity and commitment, which are judged in different areas. And that was that track map that Ryan went over at the beginning of qualifying, laying that out. So Matt obviously had a mistake there. It was a deduction in that particular area, but because he did such a good job on the bank and the rest of the course, his score was still up there, and he'll have some room to improve on run number 2 as well.
Next up, new livery each round, Alec Honadell. Black Magic, Permatex, Advanced Auto Parts, he's got quite a few sponsors. And Honadel showing up in grand fashion. Nexen tires go ablaze and just get right into the pocket. Look at Honadel throwing some gangster angle at it. About that second hash mark. Doesn't get all the way out to that quick little touch and go. Got to say, he started out really strong there, put the car in the right places, then right through the midsection, looks like he lost a little bit of that black magic.
Yeah, he had a couple little areas where he can improve on the line in run number 2, and they're fairly noticeable, but they are in specific sections. But this right here is one of the better wall rides that we've seen. I mean, that is pretty much as good as you can get, maybe just an inch or so closer. Stays in there for a pretty good amount of time. He's back on the throttle early after he enters that second outside zone. Right here, he's going to go up off course just a little bit. And then through this section here, Jared, he's setting up his line, but you can see he comes up a little bit short on that outside touch and go. And so he'll leave a few points on the table there, but overall, very smoky, aggressive run from Alec Honadel.
Smoky, aggressive run. He got him, smoke him. As Honadel, his score is inputted. And where does he land? 85 and 85 for Alec Honadel. Next up, we talked about those legacy drivers, Ryan. This is one of the 4 that has been here. Talking about here being Formula Drift for 15 years. 2004, if you can think all the way back, Road Atlanta. A young Ken Gushi aspiring to make a career out of drifting. And here he is 15 years later, still doing it. So the Greddy Performance, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86 on Falcon tires.
Yeah, I got a chance to sit down with Ken actually about a week ago for about an hour. We talked about his whole career and learned a lot of really cool, exciting things.
Right on, that's right. All right, here we go. Ken Gushi initiates. You saw him throw it in pretty gangster. It looks like he had to backpedal just a touch. Now that 2JZ powered 86. Into that second outer zone. Nice job. Barely kissing and knocking over. Again, the Boost Brigade team captain here, Ken Gushi. Well done by Ken Gushi. What's up with the Autobots logo on his hood?
Roll out.
You got to do your Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Ken Gushi, run number 1. You can see nice initiation there. As you said, Jared catches it, gets right back on throttle, stays pretty high on the bank here. Ton of wheel speed there, generating a lot of smoke on that second hash mark through that inside clip. Entering now that second outer zone. Back on throttle, keeps it really deep, just going a little bit long there, but almost flawlessly executed. Now getting out to this touch and go here on that second hash mark, and then tight through that final inside section. So Ken Gushi, a good start here. Had a nice ride on the bank, and you can see here leaving outside zone number 2 for Ken Gushi.
And there's Ken Gushi scoring 87, and 87 puts him into that number 3 position. So originally from Lithuania, Odi Bakshis. Now in Wrightwood, California, just in the Los Angeles Hills. Odi Bakshis, Falcon Tires, one of the frenemies, him and Matt Field, creating a video series based around their relationship. Here we go, Falcon Tires, drift wheels, field suspension, and Odi turns on the smoke machine. Man, really staying on it. You could hear it just in that transition, barely lifted whatsoever. This thing making all sorts of noises here through that loop section, all the way out to that outer zone where that quick touch and go makes about the second hash mark there, Ryan, on that final front clip. But man, he just did not lift whatsoever. He put a cinder block on that pedal and just pulled it off.
Well, I don't think I need to remind you or a lot of the fans out there that remember last year that Odi Bakshis is no.
Oh yeah.
He is no stranger to attrition. Last year was an unbelievable event where he had so many one more times. It was one of the first times we went into the nighttime. And as he was crossing the finish line in the finals, the engine popped. He ends up winning the event. It was unbelievable. It's what started a surge for him on the second half of the season where he made a big charge. So Odi Bakshis, as you can see from his qualifying run there, pretty solid overall here as he leaves his second outside zone. But he is the defending champion of this event and will certainly be one to watch. This kind of track definitely favors Odi, somebody that is just a phenomenal chase driver and can put his car where he wants to. And you can see right there, Jared, it pays dividends in run number 1.
Yeah, and you know, all these guys are going for that Black Magic #1 qualifier position, 92. Odi Bakshis with a 92. And again, that #1 qualifier receiving some cash in the hand, as well as some Black Magic goods. So again, these guys going for it, and Odi Bakshis currently sits on top. I was looking for the money amount that they win. I think it's 500. Slide or Daijiro Yoshihara, one of the legacy drivers since 04. Turn 14 distribution, Falcon tires, Subaru BRZ. This turbocharged LS under the hood. Dai Yoshihara. Kind of a quieter exhaust, though, compared to previous rounds, it seems like. But regardless, definitely putting the power to the ground. Woo-wee. Nice job there from Dai. Again, another vehicle just making a bunch of crazy noises. A fun factory here of Dai Yoshihara.
Let's take a look at Dai's number, his first run here in qualifying. Rolls into the initiation here. Could have let it float out a little bit further, would have given him a better line on the bank. You can see he moves his way up as he gets through that section of the course. Tight there, good transition. Big e-brake pull, though, as he enters into that section of the course. That is a decel area that judges do want to see you use your angle to slow down in that area if you can. Now through this center section here, getting out to that outside touch and go. Nice job there. Pretty smooth line being drawn as he hits that inside final section and then through the finish line for Daijiro Yoshihara.
All right, Daijiro waiting for his score. As Justin Pollock, another Falcon tire driver, waits. We've seen Justin Pollock grab that #1 spot, that top qualifier award winner, and Dai with a 90 puts him into that #2 position, a 9-0. That's a 90 for Daijiro Yoshihara. Next up, JTP, Justin Pollock, Falcon tires, Roush Performance, Ford Mustang. Should be a fun, exciting run. So Odi leads the pack with a 92. Hilbrun tied for second with Yoshihara. Here goes JTP, Justin Pollock. Whoa, flirting with that wall. Little smooch. Little smooch never hurt nobody. As JTP, you can hear him ripping through it. Just massage the back end of that Mustang. Big, massive angle there. You can see he actually was a little offline, so he had to just make a slight adjustment there. Rapping on the door. Well done, JTP, Justin Pollock. Woo-wee! Wake up the neighbors. Gaining some applause from the fans here at Wall Stadium. Ryan, let's look at it again.
Well, you can see right here, JTP is continuing with the momentum that he's building this year. He does a great job on the bank, and we've seen him just look really strong pretty much the majority of this season, saying in the offseason, look, I felt really comfortable with the vehicle at the end of last year. I want to make some minor adjustments, and I think I'm going to be good to go. And you can see here, except for this tiny little mistake through this center section here, and if you go back to Road Atlanta, his #1 qualification, he certainly is very settled and confident in the vehicle, and you can see overall it seems to be working for him and just continuing to build overall. This section right here just rubbing right against the wall, but keeping it off is just that precision that you're looking for, Jared, and then he stays on the line on the bank, maximizing the point potential there for him.
All right, so Justin Pollock, can he unseat that #1 qualifying position? Remember, going for that top qualifier Black Magic Award, and right now a 92. So 2 drivers with a 92, and it'll come down to that second run, and then we have a series of tiebreakers to see who our #1 qualifier will be. But Justin Pollock making his presence felt here out of the gate on his first qualifying run. Up next, part of that blackout video series. We talked about frenemies earlier, which is Odie and Matt Field, and now these two gentlemen, Chris Forsberg and this guy, Ryan Turk, the Blackout Garage, the Gum Out Nexon Tires Toyota Racing Toyota 86. What's the 411? Ryan Turk, that 2JZ powered 86. Nice, up on the wall. Does it again. The 1552 wheels go around. This thing sounds like it's just relieving itself out here on the course. You can just hear a loud exhaust sound and just shredding of the tires. Quick little correction there on the fly, and powers across the finish line. Well done there by Ryan Turk. Ryan, let's look at this again here.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of media reports talking about how a lot of people think that Turk is about ready to break out here and go on a tear after his performance in Road Atlanta and just all the things that he went through. And you can see he's continuing that. He has this nice initiation here where he gets back on throttle pretty early, rides the wall into that deeper section of the course, very tight on that first inside clip. Back on throttle again here through this second outer zone. Big smoke line here now as he prepares to leave this zone. He sets himself up, makes that little tiny mistake there, but then throws big angle in the car, pushes right into that that outside touch and go, and then through that final inside section there for Ryan Turk. A very aggressive run overall for him, and we'll see where that puts him over into the overall top 32 competitors. If it'll break into the 90s, let's find out.
All right, you can see Ryan Turk, the side of that Gum Out Toyota 86, that Blackout video series. Be sure to watch that. And there is an 88, for the 86 of Ryan Turk. So the Blackout Garage, hosted by Race Service in Midtown Los Angeles. As next up, everybody Wang Chung tonight. Forrest Wang here in his Vapetasia. Keeley's Tires. NRG Innovations S15. Forrest Wang. Coming in hot. Whoa, buddy. Look at him work his way from the bottom to the top. The cabin just absolutely filled with smoke. Running the 2J as he does not vie for the V8. As you can see, evidenced by the V8 sticker. He was online there, but then overshot just that final front clip. But again, Forrest Wang changing his theology from 2 years ago to now. And if you recall, a couple of years ago, the incident that went down here, but it's great to have Forrest Wang back in the mix.
Well, you can see right here, he starts off very strong, a risky maneuver up on top of the bank, dragging the bumper there, maximizing his points out, tight on that inside clip. Forrest has always been one of the more stylish drivers, a very personal style. And you can see here that as he leaves this second outer zone, through this section of the course here, he's going to make a little bit of a mistake by not getting out to this outside touch and go, and then being a bit tight here, or excuse me, a bit long there on that last inside section. But overall, a good performance for him. One thing that he's done this year, Jared, is that he's really been able to get the speed up in the vehicle. And so for him, matching that style and speed has been something that's kept him really high in the points and done well for him in overall competition.
Boom, an 85. An 85 puts him currently into a number 9 position. All right, we are now into our top 5 drivers for run number 1. Remember, we will see all the drivers go at it once again. And then tomorrow is game day, head-to-head action. Again, we have 2 drivers tied with a 92 here in qualifying. So again, the forecast, a little wet this morning, but now it is cleared up. We have perfect temperature for some shredding. Here we go. Kristaps Blush from Latvia, this HGK Motul Wisefab, the Eurofighter as it's been deemed, all carbon Kevlar. The Latvian BA. I like to call him the Latvian lover. He puts on a hard facade, but he's a lover down deep. Here we go. Kristaps Blush, who comes off fresh off that victory in Atlanta. Kind of a hiccup there. It didn't seem very smooth from Kristaps on initiation. Standing on it, that Mass Motorsports V8. Get all the way to the crease, to the fold. Super pitted, oh, way offline. Still taking that Black Magic front clip with him. Taking it all the way home. He's taking it all the way back home to Latvia with him. This is my cone now. You do not take my cone.
Yeah, well, obviously when you center punch it like that and you drag it with you, it becomes a little bit more apparent that it was a mistake. But let's take a look at Kristoff's run here.
What clipping point? I don't see anything. This is not the clipping point you're looking for.
Here's the initiation you're talking about, Jared. He may have even tapped the wall right there. It looked like it just bumped the car. Didn't affect him too much, but it looks like he may have just made contact with the wall, and that made where you saw that little hiccup right there. Let's take a look as he enters. He's got huge angle here, but he has to kind of pull out of it. It messes up his line a little bit. And then right here, it puts him in a weird position, whereas he's trying to come through the center there. He really has nowhere to go. He kind of center lines that clipping point and then drags it all the way around through the finish line, and it's still stuck underneath his vehicle. So that's more of an obvious mistake there. It'll cost him a little bit. You can see the mistakes he's making are aggressive, and they sometimes don't really have a true impact until you get to a latter part of the course where you see his line coming out of that second outer zone was affected by that. And so he'll get his score, but he'll go back and take a look and see what he can do for run number 2.
All right, so Kristoff Blush, I think he's got a little bit, he's got a more precise run in his back pocket. I'd like to see a better run from him in the second run, because right there, a 76. I know he's got more in him. So the HGK driver, Latvian driver from Latvia, obviously, Kristoff Blush with a 76. Next up, this is the Candyman, Peter Vincek from Poland. He's got some fans here, the Wordhouse Drift team, Falcon Tires Sylvia S15. And he had some suspension issues earlier, broke a control arm, but he fixed it. So just get a little update there on the action. Here comes the Candyman then. Here we go. Happy to see Peter Vincek join us on Instagram now. Oh, look at that. Looked like, again, another little hiccup there, a bobble on initiation. But now he's going to stand on it. Piotr. Solid right now. Again, outside of that kind of hesitation there on initiation, I would say, you know, he finished out the rest of it strongly.
Yeah, I mean, the initiation into the first outer zone is always one of the more impressive parts of the course if you can pull it off, but it's also one of the more dangerous. And you can see as Peter initiates, he doesn't go to full angle there, and he realizes that he's in a tough position here, so he kind of rides it out. He takes a mistake on the head, and then he gets back on it. He hits that inside clip, smooth transition early back on throttle into that second outer zone. Nice smoke line here. You can see just the fluidity leaving this section of the course, coming through the center section, deals with the bumps pretty well, gets to that outside touch and go, and then nice tight line there through that final inside is Peter Vincek. So as you said, Jared, just a little bit of a mistake early on, but makes up for it on the latter part of the course.
All right, so Peter Vincek waits for his score as his Wordhouse Drift teammate warms up his tires. He is your defending champion, James Dean. Vehicles look almost identical outside of the numbers, their lineage, but all that, the vehicles look very similar. Peter Vincek with an 87 for the Peter Vincek. All right, James Dean, car number 130, the machine. Eats green beans, very lean and mean. Here we go, James Dean. Wordhouse Drift team, Falcon Tires, 2J, S15. Again, your defending champion, the machine, rightfully so. Last year, multiple podiums, take him to a dominant championship. 2017 here. Wow, look at that, into the wall, taps it. Exchanges some paint, shredding it into that second outer zone. Almost gets, almost lifts him up. Little Josh Groban action. You can see had some wavering there. Into that front clip, into the final front clip there of the second hash mark. So James Dean getting intimate with the wall there.
And,
Just peel- Yeah, sorry.
notably, Jared really dealing well with the way that he made contact with the wall. That could have been a lot worse. Looks like something actually fell off his car there as he got ready to come down the line. Very deep right here, and then there, that little tap, but he deals with it well. He pulls a little bit angle out of the car, but he stays focused, gets back on it, and then you can see he finishes up this second outside zone as if that mistake didn't happen at all. Stays composed, big angle through this center section here, gets out to that outside touch and go. Nice fluid line through that final inside clip, and takes something that could have potentially been pretty sketchy and turns it into a nice overall run. Here it is again. You can see just getting up there, but he deals with it really well. And so we'll see how the judges take a look at that overall. I have a feeling it's still going to be a pretty decent score, though we haven't seen many scores get into the 90s just yet.
Yeah, we got a couple 92s, a 90, and an 88. An 88 for James Dean. Again, getting into our top 3 drivers. James Dean currently sitting 3rd in points with the big Irish grin on his face. All right, so a little track cleanup here. Get the officials over there. All right, so we'll take a short break. When we come back, we have our only 3-time Formula Drift champion, Chris the Force Forsberg, on the start line as NOS Energy Drink 370Z. Again, we'll do some track cleanup as James Dean peeled back a little bit of the tin can here. That is the wall here at Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet, presented by Black Magic. Welcome back to the Gauntlet. This is Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Black Magic. We are just finalizing. We have 2 more drivers left for their first run. All drivers will have an opportunity to better their first scores, courtesy of their second run. But right now, again, currently sitting second in standings, Chris the Force Forsberg. After he got on the podium in Atlanta and just had consistency through the other runs, again, he's only bested by Frederick Osbo. About 20+ points outside of first is Chris Forsberg. Here he is on his first run, initiating into that big black wall. Ripping through the course here, that NOS Energy 370Z, past that first front clip, and then dialing into that crease, puts the car right on the line, deep into that outer, just, oh wow, looks like the clipping point almost scared and just fell over. And then rounding it out, is that better than a 92 Ryan Sage? What say you?
Well, the one thing you notice right out of the gate is the visible speed from Chris Forsberg, especially coming out of the gate, and that's a very important factor here, but he was able to have a nice line and angle. Let's take a look at this here as he comes out of the gate. Good speed, nice aggressive initiation, back on throttle here, heads towards that deeper part of the rail, does a good job on that upper bank now through this section here. Maybe could have had a little bit more of an aggressive transition into that first inside clip, but you can see the line is pretty strong, big smoke line. Nice job on that second outer zone, finishing it up now through the center section, just tapping that inside clip. And then there through that outside touch and go in that final section on that second hash mark. A solid performance here. You can see why he's second in points right now, the consistency overall. After a developmental year last year, coming on strong, 3-time champion, and wanting another one. He's in striking position right now, and we'll see how that plays with the judges.
Again, the 92, there are currently 2 drivers in 92 and 87. And 87, so you can see some of the points there, missing in line, angle, and 5 points missing in style, fluidity, and commitment. So line is where he was deducted a few points there. All right, so currently sitting first, Frederick, the Norwegian Hammer Osbo. Again, just consistency. It's a broken record, and that's what they need to keep doing. So currently, Bakshi's and Pollock, both on Falcon tires, currently tied with a 92. It's our final driver for run 1, and we'll be seeing the second run from these drivers here in just a moment. Osbo initiates the Rockstar Energy Drink. Next, entire Toyota Racing. Toyota Corolla. Brings it into that transition. Barely even disrupted at all. Barely hit a bot dot here for Frederick Osbo. Those Motegi Racing wheels completely pointed in the correct direction. The gold shining. Solid run there from Frederick Osbo.
What we saw back in Orlando is the battle of the high scores. Osbo getting the highest of the weekend with a 99, a near perfect score. And we've seen quite a few of those from other drivers as well. But you can see Osbo here really just a master of qualifying, understands what he needs to do. He gets that nice initiation. He's back on throttle quickly. He goes deep into that zone. Nice fluid transition to that first inside clip. Puts his car in the right place, entering that second outer zone and leaving it as well right on that third hash mark. And then smooth and fluid through there. Big angle. Maybe could have gone a little bit deeper into that outside touch and go and a little bit tighter on that final inside section. So maybe leaving a few points on the table there, but you can see up on the wall, he takes a pretty sizable risk, pulls it off pretty well, and we'll see how the judges award him.
And Osbo's score is in a 90. That is a 9-0 for Frederick Osbo. A 90 for Frederick Osbo puts him into the number 3 position. Here we go. Back to where we began with Ryan Literal. The 909, that Coro Works, the Coro Z. The vehicle owned and operated by Coro Works out of Atlanta, Georgia. And Ryan Literal from the IE, the Inland Empire, us versus them. NRG Innovations, little voodoo ride action. Keeping that gold shining. Koenig wheels on the corner as Literal Literal with the feint initiation. Ooh, buddy. Learn with that wall. The Nexon tires getting lit up. Nice job there from Literal. Good posture, good stance from him. This LS powered 350Z brings it across the finish line. And Ryan Literal out for it, going for gold. Woo.
So Jared, as you said, Literal sitting on that 78, looking to better that number. Here he is on the initiation, gets held up just a little bit. Now he's back on throttle. Coming off the wall. A little bit of hesitation there through that first inside clip. Now getting into that second outer zone. Trying to stay deep here. You can see right on that third hash mark. Good angle here through the center section. Nice smooth transition. Gets out to that touch and go. A tiny bit of a hiccup there, but then back on the throttle through the finish line. So will that better a 78? It's in the judges' hands now. Trying to move up the ladder here and position himself into the top 32.
All right, so Literal doing double duty, Pro 2 and Pro this year. 78 was his first score. And does he better it? Yes, he does. An 82 for Ryan Literal. Puts him into 16 qualifying position. Yep, so as Farouk Kawai. Farouk about to throw down on his second run, a 57, so definitely has some room to grow on. We have a few incomplete runs there, so 3 drivers, and those all got into the wall. They need to get scores, otherwise they will not be seeing head-to-head competition. So Farouk Kawai, Reckless Racing, BMW on Nexon tires, and not a good way to start this run here, unfortunately, for Farouk. Now looks like a lot more comfortable here on the flat portion of this track. Boom, right on that front clip. Into that outer touch and go area. And tight too at the second hash mark on that final front clip. So Farouk does that better, a 57 for him. Like I said, a lot more comfortable on the bottom portion of the track. Just that initiation was a little late and a little wonky.
Yeah, you can see how much of an important role that it plays here. The commitment there from Farouk, just a little bit off, and he did a great job not making that an incomplete. He could have stopped there, but he stayed in it. Now he's trying to continue through the rest of the course. Looks much better here. His first run was a 57, so looking to better that. You can see as he comes through this center section here, trying to reach out to this touch and go. Decent line there, a little bit tight, but through that last section of the course, he is done with run number 2 and done for the day. Will he better a 57?
That is the question of the moment. Alex Hilbrun up next. He is on the start line. He had a 90 on his first run, and Farouk does better considerably. Flip those numbers around, a 57 to a 75. A 75 for Farouk puts him into the 27th position. So looks like that is so far the lowest score. So might have a few buys here potentially as we are waiting for, again, those 3 drivers we have that have incomplete runs. But a 90 on his first run for Hilbrun. The Inca Madness Racing, RTS, Nitto tires, BMW on field suspension. Whoa, Hilbrun. Wow, really going for it. A big, massive flick. Hilbrun had some bad luck in Atlanta, but he wants to come back. He wants to get on the box. His counter lock is on point right now. Knocks over that front clip. See a quick little yank of the brake. Get that thing to get the back end out. Wow, let's look at this again here. That was nasty, man.
Well, trying to break the tie for third place with Daijiro Yoshihara, but Jared, honestly, I think that is one of the most committed initiations we've seen all day, if not the most committed. I mean, full throttle, pointing the car, snaps right into it, right up against the wall. I love the way he did that initiation. He snapped right to it, held the angle there, full commitment. Now as he comes down into the center section of the course, after that inside clip off the bank, he draws this nice line through the second outer zone. Not too many mistakes there. And then through the center section, handles the whoops, gets to that first line of that outside touch and go, and then through the finish line here. Is that going to better a 90? It certainly had a huge impact. I mean, he's pointing the front of the vehicle right towards the wall and then snaps it back around, puts it right in the pocket, and then he gets right back on the throttle. Tremendous job by Alex Hilbrun.
So he had a 90, which is a really solid score, and I'm trying to recall in my head, but look at that. He actually does not better his first score of a 90. He has an 89, but back-to-back, a 90 and an 89. That's showing he is going for it. So Alex Hilbrun, Enke wheels on the corner. You got the Nitto tires, Field suspension, Inca Madness Racing. Next up, another Formula Drift rookie. He did get a score on his first run. He had a 76. Federico Sharifo in the Triple F drifting department Ferrari. Twin supercharged, 12-cylinder, one of the most exotic vehicles ever to enter Formula Drift competition. Just from the showroom floor, it is probably the most expensive vehicle off the showroom floor in stock form.
Just a heads up, from there it's really hard to see the indicator.
All right, here we go. Federico Sharifo from Italy initiates. A lot higher of a line, gaining some confidence here for Federico. Running through the gears now into that second outer zone. A big, large lift, and literally lifts up as he goes off and beyond that outer zone. So as far as line, he'll have a deduction there, but he continues through the course, gets all the way to the outside zone. See if he can tighten it up. A good second effort there for Federico Sharifo.
Yeah, and Jared, you called it. You can see just how important the line is, especially on that second outer zone where it becomes so noticeable that you're offline. You lift the back section of the car. You can see inside the car there with Federico having a little bit of hesitation as he gets into initiation. Now he's ready to go. Gets to the middle section of the bank and then is able to fill it. Now he's coming down off the bank into that inside clip. Here is where he goes up off course. And when he comes back down, he has to make a little bit of an adjustment there. So as you said, there will be a little bit of a deduction on line, but he's out to that touch and go. Wrap around the final turn through that last inside. And Federico Sharifo is done for the day, looking to better 76.
And he does with an 80. An 80 for Federico. Nitto tires in the corner, the 18 position. An 80 betters his 76 on his first run. Dean Carney coming all the way from Ireland with a 76 in this backup car, this rented vehicle, Oracle lining, Achilles tire. Dean Carney having some bad luck, but I know he came and approached me earlier. Says, yeah, Forrest Wang isn't drifting two cars out here. He's driving, he's driving this vehicle. He had to rent it, so looking for Dean to have his vehicle at the next round of competition. Here we go, Dean Carney. Savage. Here we go. Dean throws it in. Oh, buddy! Flirts with the wall, stays in it. That could have gone south really quick, or north in that case, up into the wall, but he stays and lives up to his name, Carnage. Shredding that 2F performance. Super Duke back bumper. And the Oracle lights are on the prize. A wide swing there. Doesn't tighten it up to that final front clip. But Ryan, that could have gone south. But like I said, correcting myself, could have gone north, meaning up the wall and into it.
Yeah, nice play on words there, Jared.
Man, that's
good
what
job.
I do. It speaks for a livings.
Well, let's take a look at Dean's run here. You can see the bumper suffering a little bit of cosmetic damage there, but a great save by Dean, as you mentioned. Could have gone bad there for him, but as he comes in, nice aggressive initiation here. He's back on throttle. He had to point it in a weird direction there, and that's where he's going to tap the wall. but he stays in it here, throttles through, gets down off the bank into that first inside clip, now heading into that second outer zone. He's back on the throttle pretty early here. Tries to draw a nice line, exiting that second outer zone, now through that center section, getting out to that outside touch and go, and then all the way around, finishing up. He goes a bit wide there on that last inside section. Here's the initiation again. You can see he's on the e-brake and then back on the throttle here. Watch how the car kind of points itself, and then the butt starts heading up towards the wall. That's where he taps it. A little bit like Dean, but just a bit of cosmetic damage there and some deduction in points, but he is trying to better the 76. So let's see how the judges take that run into consideration.
And there we are with a second score. It's an 82. An 82 betters his 76 on the first run, puts him into the 17th qualifying position. All right, so it looks like we are continuing. A quick fix there. Looks like with kind of like the drivers, the guys fixing the wall, they're getting a little better each run. So looks like they tightened it up. Pockets. All right, here we go. Kevin Lawrence and Juku Racing. S14.3 with this RB30. An RB30 engine setup. Some wavering there up on the bank. Now into that front clip, transitions into that second outer zone. He has a 77 on his first run, and that's what will be the better of the two. He spins and rotates, and that will be an incomplete, so his first run of a 77 will have to stand to be the better of the two.
Let's see what happens to Kevin Lawrence here, Jared. He was looking to better that 77, as you said. I like that initiation, and he kind of points down a little bit. Now he starts to head back up on that mid-high line on the bank, coming down off into that inside clip. Good fluid motion there. Big angle in the car, and then right there, he's got a lot of it that the vehicle cannot handle. Goes into the spin. He'll have to hang on to that 77 as he has an incomplete on run number 2.
All right, good news for Jeff Jones fans out there. Jeff makes it back to the line after he got into a tussle with the wall. So not too big a damage for Jeff Jones. Here we go with the relentless one from Los Angeles. Jeff Jones, that Doc Falcon tires. Edelbrock supercharged V8. 370Z. Jones throws it in, stays off the wall this time. There we go, buddy. Again, this is do or die for Jeff Jones. And right now, he's going for it. Bit of a lift there. Now back on throttle. Good job by Jones. Hop, skip, and a jump past that outside touch and go. And a wide swing. Little harnessing the spirit of Sam Hubinet right there. What's going on? Drift you later, dude.
Well, I think he was excited that he was able to deal with the pressure very well. Jeff Jones didn't need that 100-point run, just needed to get a score on the board, and he's able to do just that. As Jones lays down a pretty solid run overall. This will get him into the top 32 for tomorrow. Now it really just becomes all about positioning as we catch up with him here in the latter sections of that second outside zone, coming through the choppy part of the track into that touch and go. And then the final section there for Jones. See what the judges think. He had that crash on run number 1. Certainly will better that. Now, where is he going to slot in here on run number 2?
That was definitely better than a crash.
Yes.
Gave a little, the M. Night Shyamalan with the twist at the end. That was dope. All right, so there it is, a 78. A 78 puts him into 25th position. 76? Oh, see, I'm 15 years of doing this, my sight's going. It's 76.
Your eyes are shot.
My eyes are shot. A 76. 76 for Jeff Jones. But that does better a crash. Another driver that got into the wall, the committed Galp S chassis of Austin Meeks. Austin Meeks, one of the best dressed drivers in the drivers' meetings. He wears a full-blown 20-piece suit, seems like. Here we go, Austin Meeks. He crashed into the wall in his first run. This is another driver that needs to get a score. Seems like he's playing it a bit safe here. Oh no, Meeks. Oh man. Well, no matter how well dressed you are, that's not going to get you in the show. Austin Meeks, unfortunately, will not be in head-to-head competition.
Yeah, it's a big bummer for him. You can tell of the two between Jones and Meeks. Meeks clearly had a lot more, at least visible damage here. And you can tell he's really just trying to get a run on the board. He's aggressive, but he's not paying too much attention to line. And then right here as he transitions, just not able to hold that angle and has to give it up there. So he will be out of competition, but that does open a door for another driver, as we have one driver that was in competition that will not be into tomorrow's competition, leaving another spot open for a bye possibility.
All right, so with 31 drivers in, and with Austin Meeks not getting a score, that means everybody else will be in there. So looks like two buys will be going on tomorrow. So not only is the bragging rights of #2 qualifier, and also, of course, the #1 Black Magic Top Qualifier Award winner. You win the bling, you win the cash, you win Black Magic car care products, but the top 2 qualifiers will have a fast pass from today into tomorrow's top 16. If you haven't downloaded the app, I encourage you to do that because we have fan rewards programs, we have all the updates, you can buy tickets, scoring, alerts, exclusive FD content, and we'll see what other cool things come along. But you got to download the app to find out what is going on in the Formula Drift world. Again, download the app on the Apple Store or Google Play. Also, again, Drifts Wheels. Win a set of Drifts Wheels. Tag a photo of you watching this weekend's event. Hashtag FDDRIFZ. Drifts with a Z. And enter to win a free set of Drifts Wheels. Same wheels as run by Adamus Ori Bakhshis. Again, these names, everybody says, Peter Vincic. You really have to give the Peter Vincic. You have to talk like him. It just gives it that more impact. Vaughn Gittin Jr., that's how you got to say it. It's contractually. What happened? All right, little lull in the action here. Somebody just totally brain farted, not showing up. Larry Chen's just going to walk on track whenever he wants because that's what Larry does. Just on a safari down here with a safari hat. All right, so our next driver was to be that of the menace, Kyle Mohan. No showing of the Mohan. And seeing him. All right, looks like Mohan is in the burnout box. And he's warming up his Nexen tires. Ryan, how's it going, man? How you feeling? Feeling old now? 15 years doing this stuff? And we knew each other prior to that. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it. Nothing, no feedback?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
The infamous F word, fine. Ryan and I go do voiceovers in Burbank, and I go, Ryan, what did you think of that? Was that good? It's fine. That's just that's neither a yes, neither a no. It's fine. It'll do. Our good boy Jared Underwood, who's our audio engineer, and Shimron on the phones. He calls in, and we have one heck of a time. It's pretty good memories over the years. Any fond memories stand out to you over 15 years, 100 rounds?
No, there's tons. There's so many.
How about like Texas and getting in bar fights and ridiculous stuff like that? And then the off-track stuff is always kind of the most memorable for me. But of course the battles. I always just think of Alex Pfeiffer and Sammy Hubinette. That of like Ernie Fixmer, Casper Canoe, always awesome. Sam and Reese, Tanner. Yeah.
Yeah, the early days really were very cowboy-esque. You know, and we were all maturing along the way. Drivers were young, staff was young, and a lot of fun stories. And it's still really fun today. It's just a different type of fun.
It is.
Know?
It is. Now there's a Formula Drift children's care center over there now. You know, we're all right. So all joking aside, it's been great. Here we go. Kyle Mohan, Kyle the Menace Mohan, American Ethanol, Mazda Tricks, Mazda MX-5. Here we go. The Menace, Kyle Mohan. Kyle throws it in. He already has a score on the board, an 82. An 82 for Mohan. Woo! Banging away, it echoing through the woods here. Shotgun bang. This thing is shredding right now. Kyle Mohan, barely hear yourself think as Kyle brings it across the finish line. Mohan with an 82 on his first run. Large Rotary community here in on the East Coast and New Jersey and New York, so they got to be loving this.
Yeah, not much lifting from Kyle Mohan, and it's such a loud vehicle. It's so apparent what he does with the throttle control as he starts off here mid-high on the bank, moving his way up after a nice initiation. Now coming down, he's on that second hash mark. Could have done a little bit better job entering that second outer zone. But as he said, Jared, extremely aggressive run with tons of throttle here, coming through the center section, getting into that outside touch and go, and then through this final section here is Kyle Mohan looking to better that 82.
All right, so the 82 does get bettered by just 1 point. An 83, that's an 83 for Kyle Mohan. An 83 for Mohan on his second run. Oh, wow, look at that. Awesome to see Taguchi back out here. He took a hard hit, probably one of the hardest of them all, just breaking off. Fortunately, it was on the not so critical end of the back end. The bash bars came bouncing off and some cosmetics, but glad to see him back out here. So there could be another bye, actually. I mistakenly said that with Austin Meeks out, but Taguchi, he needs a score as well. Wow, all right, well, we'll see if Taguchi gets his wallet back here. Taguchi throws it in, a little lower, maybe a little timid of that wall. In that second outer zone goes Taguchi. Like I said, just needs to get a score on the board. Kazuya Taguchi, one more clip away from getting a score, and we'll be seeing head-to-head competition tomorrow. So fortunately for him, he works it out, gets a score on the board. So out of our initially 31 entered drivers, we will be seeing those 30. So here we go.
Yeah, pressure is off. He'll get that score on the board. Now it's just a matter of where it's going to lock in. We've got a 75, a 76, and an 82 that are in the lower end of the scoring. So he's trying to get as high as 80, I think would put him out in good position here. Let's find out as he comes through this last section of the course towards that touch and go, and then through this final inside section here after sustaining some pretty solid damage. Here he is entering that second outside zone. You can see he got into it a little bit offline there, but make some up here through this section, second section of the course. And
there you go, a 74. A 74 for Kazuya Taguchi. So he does make it into the show tomorrow. And Rad Dan Burkett with a 74 on his first run. See if he can better it. We talked about his fluidity, just his level of comfort. He is in the head-to-head. Let's see if he can better that 74 and just work his way up the head-to-head bracket. Dan Burkett initiates, little e-brake, shimmying. See him working his way through that bank. A swing. Could hear a lot of lifting there, Ryan. Some correction. Looked like he was going to overcook it, but then stays in it. As Dan Burkett all the way to the outside touch and go. So some little moments here and there, but you could see just, like I said, that level of comfort, not really just going with his gut, and you could see him just correct here and there. Oh, wow. What's that? Firing off like that? What? Bang, bang. You want some of Rad Dan? Here it is again, taking a look. Like I said, just on initiation, you see him shimming and coming down off the bank. Not bad there, but watch when he goes into the second outer zone. You see correction, and again, you can see that smoke trail. That was a sign of him lifting, and then another shimmy there. And there is one more approaching that final front clip. So just kind of nitpicking here, but that would definitely fall into the fluidity portion of what the judges are looking for. Still an exciting run. You know, a lot of these guys making it look easy, so just those little finite details is what separates you from that #1 qualifying spot, or you know, receiving a 74 on his first run. So it looks like Dan Burkett does better his first score, a 78. A 78 puts him into 23rd position. So that just goes to show you, a 78 puts you into 23rd. Next up, Vaughn Gittin Jr. He had an 87 on his first run. This Monster Energy Nitto tire, Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Vaughn Gittin Jr., former Formula Drift champion. The 25. Just purchased a Ford GT. That was pretty sweet. And he had a really humble post about making that purchase of, you know, the supercar. Pretty sweet. So stoked for him. Excited to see what he's going to do. And today's National Donut Day. If you didn't see the video, he rocked a few donuts in that Ford GT. So check it out at Vaughn Gittin Jr. And Vaughn is ready to send it. Here on his second run, an 87 on his first score. And Chase sends it. Here we go. Throws it in. Whoa, Vaughn. Very aggressive. Almost dragging the wall. Into that flat portion of the track. Gets into the crease, gets into the groove like Madonna. Oh, buddy, hangs it out there. Takes out that front clip once again. That's what he did on his first run. Taking out the signature RTR lights even on the front end. Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets up, but that was after the finish line. Vaughn really going for the gusto here, Ryan.
Yeah, well, he's got that 87, looking to break into the 90s if he can. He's got a pretty good score to start off here. Let's take a look at this run and dissect it. Pretty solid initiation, snaps to it, gets nice and high on the bank, stays with it on the line. Consistent down coming off into the bank in that first inside clip. Enters the second outer zone at the right time with the right line. Stays on that third hash mark. Right there, a little bit of a mistake leaving that second outer zone, and there you can see the lift going up past that outside touch and go. So a couple little mistakes there. We'll see how that affects the score overall, but nonetheless, he's got a good start with that 87. Here you can see that little bit of a flub, just some fluidity and maybe a little bit of a line problem. And then here as well, just lifts up there. So let's take a look and see what the judges think.
All right, so Vaughn Gittin Jr., the scores are in. A 91, a significant jump for him. Ryan, as you said, working his way into the 90s, and he does. 91 puts him into that #3 spot. So still a couple 92s stand to be the best scores so far, tied right now. I believe there was Justin Pollock and that of Odie Bakshish, those two Falcon Tire drivers. Next up, Jonathan Castro. He had his Instagram takeover and still continues. So be sure to check out @Formula D and see what's going on in Castro's world from Dominican Republic. Been competing in Formula J for quite a few years now. And again, more turning and burning of this vehicle, and just seems to get better and better with this Jardot Metaldom Toyota Racing Toyota 86 on Nexen tires. And just like I said, it just bears repeating on how dynamic last year's run of him and James Dean in Orlando. That would probably go down in the most memorable run in my eyes. I mean, it was just absolutely unbelievable run last year in Orlando. Ryan, I think you even shed a tear, dude. You were hyped. You're pretty pumped. Fully torqued.
Yeah, it was fine.
Oh, man. All right, here we go. Jonathan Castro here on his second run. He has an 80 on his first run. Throws it in. Oh, buddy, look at that. Castro might have exchanged some paint. You just can't see it through that thick smoke coming out the back of this 86. He's part of that Bruce Brigade family as well. Got a little hesitant there. You saw him kind of potentially almost lift like it was going to rotate on him. Massive angle here for Jonathan Castro. Oh man, looked like that was going to be dialing it in. A wide swing past that final front clip, but woo-wee! Solid job there.
Well, we've still seen these really impactful runs get pretty high scores. We're not seeing the 95s, the 94s, the 96s, or anything like that, but we're still seeing drivers that are making a couple little mistakes that we notice still get some pretty high scores as long as the impact is there and the majority of the run is pretty consistent. And that is what we see here from Jonathan Castro. Does a great job manufacturing a wonderful lineup on top of the bank and even making contact with the wall. Now as he enters this second outside zone, this is where he had that quick lift for a second. You can see just a little bit of a change in the smoke line. And as he comes into this center section here, he handles the whoops really well, gets into that outside touch and go, and then draws a line that goes a little bit deeper than he probably should have on that last inside section. Here's the initiation. Let's see if we can catch where he made contact with the wall. It's going to be right in front of the camera, just right about there on the back end, but he actually deals with it really well. And then you can see just how well he also handled coming down off the bank into that inside clip, not letting the car jump around. So Jonathan Castro, he already has that 80. I have to imagine that is going to be an improvement, and it is.
And it is an 82 for Castro. Solid job from him. Castro with an 82. Puts him into 17th position. So again, still leaving some points out there on the board, but yeah, there you go. There you have it. Matt Van Kirk with a 76. A 76 on his first run. Another driver from the Pacific Northwest. Closet Creations, Popeye Energy. S13's got the LSC. A very fluid driver. And the smoke becoming an issue here. Like we said, the wind definitely helping out, getting rid of it, but the big flag not waving as stiff as it was earlier. Van Kirk sliding his way up into the bank. High on the bank is Van Kirk. Now into that second outer zone. Van Kirk, very, like I said, very smooth. Very fluid driver. Just his transitions, not snappy, just very progressive. That brings the angle a little slower compared to some of the other drivers, but really like what Van Kirk is doing, a Formula Drift rookie, and just given where he's running right now, not too shabby on his maiden voyage.
Well, you can see here he opts with this real sweeping entry into the initiation, snaps into it, gets on throttle, finds that line nice and high up on the bank. Now coming down off, handles that well. Nice job on that first inside clip. You can see he's entering that second outer zone. Doesn't do it very aggressively, but he keeps it smooth. A little bit long there on that exit to the second outer zone. Now getting into that touch and go. He's right on that second hash mark, and then the final section of the course. through the finish line is Matt Van Kirk.
Van Kirk currently sitting second as far as Rookie of the Year, and his point standing is currently 18th. And just ahead of him. And there's an 85 for Matt Van Kirk. Does better a 76, so an 85 for Matt Van Kirk. And again, sitting in 18th overall, sitting 17th Kaufman. But as far as Rookie of the Year, Dirk Stratton, he's currently leading Rookie of the Year in that Corvette. He's up next. So right now, Matt Kaufman, World War Kaufman here, talked about how dynamic of a driver he's become, a 79 from this Ford power plant under the hood of the S chassis. Here we go. Matt Kaufman. Yeah, out of the gate, just a quick straight line approach. Not as high and aggressive as he was on his first run. Flicks it into that second outer zone. Big angle there. Can he hold on to it? Yeah, has to take a little bit out of it. You can see him almost maxing it out. Taking a shallower line, doesn't get out to that touch and go, but it allows him to stay tight to that front clip. And there is Matt Kaufman's second run, almost taking out that Black Magic clip there. Ryan, he has to better a 79. A 79 was his first score.
Yeah, would love to break into the 80s here. Kaufman, always aggressive. You can see smoking it down the line there. Back on throttle here, looking to draw that deep line. Does a pretty good job on that latter part of the big bank. Now coming through that first inside clip. Big angle into that transition there. He's able to hold it so far. You can see right there he comes off and makes a little tiny flub with the fluidity coming through that section. But again, very aggressive on that section of the line towards that outside touch and go. He misses that completely, so we'll have a line deduction there. But now let's go to the judges as they have inputted the scores.
81, there you go. Ryan, you're like this little Karnak here, telling the future, looking at your crystal ball, aka your shiny chrome dome over here. An 81 for Matt Kaufman on a second run, puts him into number 21 qualifying position. So next up is to be Dirk Stratton. Dirk Stratton in the Drift Vet, Lingenfelter, Achilles Tires, Corvette. Sponsored by Stratton Chevrolet, coming to us from Ohio. All right, so again, we're waiting for Dirk Stratton here, and now's an opportunity for you to text and win a MagnaFlow exhaust. Again, you can win a MagnaFlow exhaust. Text MF Drift to 555-888. Again, 555-888. Text MF Drift. You're sitting here, not doing anything, no car on track, good opportunity. MF as in MagnaFlow Drift to 555-888, and you can win a MagnaFlow exhaust. All right, so, and also embrace the heat, start the conversation, join the community. Go to formuladee.com and join the community. Hover the button, click it, stick it, send it. Join the community on formuladee.com. All right, so a little lull here in the action, waiting for Dirk Stratton, the dagger. But looks like he's sharpening his blade for his second run here at round 4, the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. This is Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Black Magic. All right, so Dirk Stratton is skipping his second run. He does have a score on his first run, and that was an 80 on his first run. So he is skipping his second run. I think he's having some issues, but that was a smart decision because you're only allotted one competition timeout. That is a 5-minute allotment to fix your vehicle, so guaranteeing his head-to-head spot. Locked, loaded, skip his run, moving on. Michael Essa, our next driver, and Michael Essa on his first run, an 84 on his first run. Wants to better that. As now we are in the top 16 drivers here coming into this round of competition. Essa, like I talked about, very smooth and just shredding into that first front clip. Quick little downshift into the gears and then finds himself right into the pocket. Boom, on that first hash mark. All the way out to that touch and go. Can he dial it in? Do we have a driver that's besting a 92, an 84? So we have two drivers tied with a 92, and Essa, a former champion, really coming on strong. He has an 84, 92. Pollock and Bakshi's currently leading the pack.
Well, I think that's going to definitely be up there. And if you look from the get-go, watch how well he initiates, floats, and then catches it right at the right time. Right here's the float, and then boom, right back on throttle. It makes it look very seamless, and then he's able to get in the pocket there, stay on that line, drive through that first inside clip with the right line as well. And then as he finishes this section here, you can see he's on the right line coming through this section of the course. He has big angle there. He gets out to that touch and go. Big smoke here, nice line being drawn, maybe a tiny little bit of deduction there, and maybe coming out of that second outer zone. But I have to imagine that's going to be an improvement on that 84. Let's take a look and see where it goes, as we are hearing that scores are in.
92, so now 3 drivers with a 92. So it's going to come down to what Pollock and Bakshis have in store for their second runs. Speaking of Falcon Tire, the other Corvette of Matt Field makes his way over here. No, just skip. No CTO. Just skip this. All right, the Falcon Tires Wish Corvette of Matt Field, the Beast from the Bay, 777. Borla exhaust note, here we go. He has an 89 on his first run, which is a definitely respectable score. Going for that #1 spot. Big angle there past that front clip. Like to see him a little deeper in that outer zone. Hammering down. About the 3rd hash mark on that touch and go. Zeroes in about the 2nd. You can see him really, man, absolutely hammering on that car. An 89 for Matt Field. Also an update, Chelsea DeNofa was to be ahead of Matt Field. He is skipping his second run. So Chelsea DeNofa skipped his second run.
Let's take a look at Field here. Into that initiation, also doing good job catching the float, getting right into that deeper part of that outer zone. Now remember, Jared, on that first run, he had that mistake leaving outside zone #2, and that gave him an 89, factoring that deduction. Now this time around, much cleaner on the exit of outside zone 2. Big angle here through that center section. Snaps it back around, he's on the throttle. Could have gone a little bit deeper into that touch and go, and he's right on that 2nd hash mark. Now we saw Michael Essa have that improvement on his. He went from an 84 to a 92. Can Field break into the 90s here? On the face of it, it looks like a strong competitor to get into the 90s.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, just hammering down. Here we go, Ryan. Does he get it? Yes, he does, a 92. So 4 drivers. So Matt Field, as it stands right now, because Essa had that 84 and a 92, Field with an 89 and a 92. So depending on where Pollock and Bakshis, we're talking about that frenemies. So now those 2 frenemies both with 92s, but right now Alec Honordale with an 85. An 85 in that Black Magic S14. Woo-wee! Blending into that black wall. into that second outer zone, that supercharged V8 S14. Oh, it throws too much angle at it. Has to unwind a bit. Throws him offline. Gets out of shape, gets it wild. Man, the Destin Floridian getting buck nasty here. He got wild. He threw in way too much angle, had to unwind it, and threw him off his line, Ryan.
Well, you could see that mistake starting to materialize as he was leaving inside clip 1. He was carrying so much momentum there. He had to use angle to slow the car down, but he just had too much, and he wasn't able to hold it. He does a great job on the first section of the course. He goes really deep into that zone, and then right here he's got a lot of speed. Right here he's trying to catch it, put angle in the car, but he's got too much. He realizes he can't hold it. He has to pull out of it. And then there again, he goes a little bit off course, hitting that exit cone to outside zone number 2. So I don't know that he's going to better his 85. A couple little mistakes there that were pretty noticeable. But let's see what the judges think overall as they factor in all the independent scoring from line and angle and also style, which is fluidity and commitment, 20 points each for that category.
All right, the judges reviewing the tail of the tape here of Honadel. You see him, big, massive angle there. Comes unwound, and that's almost like a reinitiation there.
Yeah, that's very, very close. I think that's what they're, I mean, obviously that is what they're looking at, but I think what they're trying to figure out is whether or not that is an incomplete, enough to give an incomplete.
Right.
The wheels came to 0 for a second there, and maybe even a little bit of opposite drift. Let's see if we can get a better look at it here as we slow things down. I don't know if this angle is going to help us. Well, yeah, you can see it there for just a quick split second.
Not the prettiest.
Not the prettiest, yeah.
All right, so an 85 on his first run. And looks like we are getting the scores in here as Ken Gushi's on the start line. He's up next. And Honadel does have an incomplete on his second run, but the 85 currently has him in 15th position as far as qualifying. Ken Gushi, an 87 on his first score. He is our next victim here of this Wall Stadium Speedway. The Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Black Magic. Ken Gushi throws it in. Yeah, there we go. Nice, Goosh. One of those FD veterans into that second outer zone, the 2JZ powered 86. He's been on the box here before. Let's see him do it again. Can he do it again? Credit Performance Products, Falcon Tires, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. Ryan, that was a really rock-solid run there for Gushi.
Yeah, Gushi seems on point today. He's got that 87, as you mentioned. This run was as good as that, if not better. Let's take a look at the initiation here. Straight line approach, snaps into it, catches it just past that 5th guardrail there, then stays on the throttle, leaving that section of the course, trying to maximize the angle through that first inside clip as best you can without slowing down, and then getting right into that second outer zone is Ken Gushi leaving that second outer zone. Big angle here coming through the center section. Nice line through that outside touch and go. Smoky run from Ken Gushi as he hits that last inside section and pours on the throttle through the finish line. Here he is through that first inside clip, transitioning just right on that, in between that first and second hash mark. So Gushi feeling confident here today at Wall, taking advantage of what are beautiful conditions after what seemed like a nightmare. So here we go.
He does better, an 89. An 89 on his second run puts him into number 9 position. So Ryan, we're talking about that 92 and how many drivers were tied with that 92. Bakshis has a 92 on his first run, but an 89 previously from that of
that could be an 84. I was just trying to make sure.
Yes, that is an 84.
This is Ryan writing.
Yep. Yeah. All right. So Matt Field currently has a 92 and he has an 89 on his first run. So right now, where is Odie going to land? All right. So yeah, and Essa has a 84. to back up his 92. So, Ryan?
Yeah, I was going to say, so as it stands, basically right now, Field is in first place on paper.
Right, on paper. But here we go. Still a few drivers ready to rip. Oh, Odi Bakshi. That Falcon tires. Steel suspension. S14 in that second outer zone. He's gunning for his frenemy. Can he take down his frenemy? That is Matt Field. Wow, that exhaust note is nearly deafening. Woo-wee. Send it, buddy. Wow. So again, does that better in 89? Basically, he's going against his frenemy, Matt Field.
89 or better. He's got first place locked up for the time being, and you get a sense from Odi what to expect from head-to-head competition here tomorrow. Very aggressive, lots of confidence. He manages to destroy the wall, does a great job there, initiates, catches it, fills that outer zone. Lots of speed coming through this section of the course. He's using the vehicle's momentum and the angle to get where he needs to be. You're not seeing a lot of the extra inputs, not a lot of e-brake use here. Just a quick one right there. And watch the inside wheels. He makes a little bit of a correction right there, but very minimal, and he uses it to get back into that right line for that inside clip. So 89 or better. He is your #1 qualifier for the time being. He's got that 92, as you said, Jared.
Yep.
And he's looking to better the 89 of Matt Fields, who also has a 92. Odi Bakchi's very confident at this course, looking solid. And we also have Justin Pollock left to come. So the Falcon drivers today looking very solid in qualifying overall, as now the judges will give us their verdict.
All right, what's he back it up with? Odi Bakshi with a 93. So he just puts a stamp on it, a 93 for Odi Bakshi. He says, that's cute, Matt. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just one-up you, literally. 93 for Odi Bakshi, your new #1 qualifier, but still some shredders left to go. Dai Yoshihara, one of those FD veteran legacy drivers since day one, turn 14 distribution. We just heard just how loud and kind of, I don't want to say obnoxious, but just deafening these exhausts are. Dai Yoshihara, being a turbocharged LS, is surprisingly not that loud. It just kind of has a nice, clean, very tech-sounding exhaust note, but now, regardless of exhaust note, he sticks it to the wall. Big, massive angle there. Is that? Yeah, I knew that was going to throw him off. Looked like he threw that angle and slowed him down way too much to get that second outer zone. It threw him off his line. Out to the touch and go goes Dai Yoshihara. And one final clip away. Well done from Dai. But Ryan, when he came off of that transition to the flat bottom, massive angle, slowed him down, threw him off.
Yeah. Dai's exhaust note is very Dai.
That's what I was trying to. Yeah, definitely.
And Odi's is not very Odi.
It's not.
Let's take a look at this mistake here. It was a good start by Dai. As you said, he's got to put big angle in the car here, and then it really slows the car down. As he wraps back around, he doesn't have enough momentum to fill in the deeper part of that zone. So it'll be a mistake on the line there, and probably on fluidity, depending on where that mistake was made on the track map. Now coming through the center section here, Daijiro Yoshihara looking at trying to better that 90. I don't think that's going to be enough.
No.
But let's take a look at it from another angle here. You can see he's carrying a lot of momentum, so he puts an angle in the car, and then when he transitions back around, he's just not on the right line and can't get deep out into that zone.
So an 84 on his first run, or sorry, a 90 on his first run, and an 84 on his second. Just seeing the scores over the officials and the computer. So 84 on a second one, 90 is still a strong score. Currently in 7th position. So here's the other driver that has a 92. So Justin Pollock, we've seen him grab that Black Magic Top Qualifier Award. That, again, the medallion, the bling, the cash, and the product. Can he back up Odi Bakshish's 93? All right, yeah, the smoke becoming a factor here. Almost fog, very thick into the big bank and that first outside zone. All right, JTP Justin Pollock, Falcon tires, Ford Mustang. Thankfully, the wind is blowing it all. So a 92 on his first run. Few more drivers left to go. We are into the top 10. You can see the Fast Orange qualifying standings. Odie Bakshis at the top. Justin, what do you got? Justin with a 92 on his first run. Gets up into that wall. Comes down into that second outer zone. Goes Pollock. Big angle. Stays in it. Pushes that gas pedal through the floor. Into that touch and go. Into the final front clip. Ryan, that's a strong contender there. That is a strong contender. Can he take down Odie Bakshis? That was a very impressive run, given all the pressure and all the pride.
Well, if he's going for first place, it's got to be a 93. It almost sounded like he almost missed a gear here for a second. Right. He kind of slows up. Now he gets back on it. Luckily, that short run up, he can deal with that. Stays deep into that first outside zone. Now coming down off. Great angle there through that first inside clip. Big angle here. Now he almost makes a mistake and has to pull some out, but he does a good job making it look proper. But then you can see he goes a tiny bit off course there, but we've seen the judges give some latitude there. And as he comes through that outside touch and go, he goes real deep and then kind of almost late apex as that drives around it. Here's that angle once again, really pushing the limits of the vehicle. Right there you can see just that tiny adjustment, but he makes it look smooth. And then he's a little bit offline there as he goes up. It's a very impressive run. It has high energy, but is it a 93 to better or tie Odie Bakshis?
Here we go, going to the scores. 95, a 95 from JTP. Ups the ante, and JTP Justin Pollock knocks down Odie Bakshis from his tower. He was in there for a moment, and it takes him out of the throne. Our Black Magic top qualifier, as it stands, JTP Justin Pollock with a 92, and then backs it up with a 95. All right, so an 88 for Ryan Turk on his first run. Can he better it in his gum out? Next entire Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. Again, the Blackout Garage show star, him and Chris Forsberg just announced their builds. He's building the 86. Forsberg's building the 350Z. Follow them on the Blackout. Again, that's Black Magic Gum Out, brought to you by, of course, Black Magic and Gum Out. PC Racing suspension on the corners. Here we go, the 2JZ powered Toyota 86. Ryan Turk throws it in. Oh, buddy, flirting with that wall. Into that front clip. Listen to that, just stands on a big heavy lift there though, Ryan. Massive lift, he was gonna overcook it. I talked about how he really was pinned with that throttle. You can hear that anti-lag just firing off. Woo! And there's Ryan Turk. So yeah, he was just on the throttle past that front clip. And another scenario that we saw earlier for one of the drivers, just overcook it and get out of shape.
Well, it was no choice for him. He had to do that. He came into that section of the course really fast. He needed to get back some speed off, and there was really no choice there to do anything other than what he did. But he started off really strong here. I mean, this is still a solid run. Nice job by Turk coming through that first inside clip. This is where he puts a lot of angle in the car. He has to get on the e-brake. He realizes he's about to go up on course, so he gets back on throttle, has to make do with that little mistake there. Now leaving the second outside zone, coming through the power alley. Big angle here by Ryan Turk, getting on that first hash mark of that outside touch and go. And then through that final turn is Ryan Turk sitting on an 88.
And now an 83, not going to do it. An 83, just with that major mistake there. He sits in 10th in his gum out Toyota Racing Toyota 86. And next up, Forrest Wang. We are currently about to get into the top 5. Forrest Wang sits just outside, comes in 6th position into this round of competition. Forrest Wang, Vaptasia, Energy Innovations, Get Nuts Laboratory, Achilles Tire, S15. Forrest Wang has an 85 on his first run. He started low and then went high into the bank. See how he fares now. Looks like the smoke dissipating just enough for him to leave the start line. Here we go. Forrest Wang on his second run. Can he better in 85? Massage his way up there. Doesn't get all the way up. A fluid transition from him. Man, that thing sounds like it's like a droid. All the noises the thing's kicking out. Whew. All right, running through the gears. Give it another gear, Gary. All right, so Forrest Wang. Ryan, let's look at it again here.
So Wang with that 85, Jared. It looks like he was really going for it here, but obviously he's going to sacrifice a little bit on the bank. He does not get as high as some of the other competitors that were in those 90 to 95 range that we saw just recently here with Justin Pollock. You really have to have that section of the course down, but you can see Wang here able to really do a great job on the infield, coming through the center section, dealing with the whoops very well, getting off throttle in the right places, then back on, drawing a nice line and staying consistent there. Huge angle through this section of the course. Nice fluid rotation back around. Aims just about perfectly right there between that second and third hash mark of that outside touch and go. And bouncing around a little bit there, but he finishes up and improves.
An 87 on top of his 85, but take the better of the two. So an 87 puts him into 12th position. Now we are getting into the top five. The top five. Top five coming into this round of competition. Christophe Bluch coming off of that victory in Atlanta. Just an FYI, if you were anticipating going to the driver's autograph session, we will try to expedite the drivers getting out of their vehicles and getting over to the autograph session. We will have our dedicated hour autograph session, but again, once we have our final 5 drivers here completed, we will get them over to the autograph session. The tables and chairs are getting set up, so we will have that full hour autograph session. Here we go, Christophe Bluch, HGK from Latvia. In this Mass Motorsports. Oh, buddy, that could have gone hairy. Wow, that could have gotten really sketchy there for that Eurofighter BMW. The car looks really loose. Ryan, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, that one I saw. Ryan, one, I saw you cringe, like he was going right for the wall. 2, the car looks really loose compared to the first run and even to last weekend.
Well, you know, Christophe Bluch has the wherewithal to know to pull out of something here that could have got really dangerous, and that's this section right here as he starts pointing towards the wall. He sees what he needs to do. He makes an adjustment in the car. He'll take the mistake on the head. But yeah, he's just, he doesn't really seem to have that flow that he had in Road Atlanta. And it may just be some tweaks and adjustments because obviously we know this is an incredible vehicle with a driver that just came off of a win. So we certainly expect him to back that up here and be very competitive at this round. His first score was that 76. As we take a look again, this is where it gets a little bit gnarly. Right there, he starts pointing towards the wall. He adjusts. The judges will obviously look at that as a pretty sizable mistake. And
76 on his first run.
76 on his first run, as you said. So I don't know that this is going to better the first run. But either way, he will be into tomorrow's competition, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, we saw an incomplete earlier when they had that big mistake, and this very well could be the same outcome, and I believe it is. So Christophe's on his first run with that 76 and an incomplete run on his second. So all the way down there in the bottom of the pack. So going from, let's call it what it is, hero to 0 from Atlanta to now 76. He's going to need to swallow his pride and bring back that Latvian BA. Here we go next with James the Machine Dean. No, sorry. This is Peter Visek, sorry. It's easily to confuse them because one, their cars look almost identical. Two, they're right before and after each other. So Peter Visek, oh, wow. Almost bit off more candy than he could chew there. Peter Visek, oh, throwing up some shrapnel. Shreds a back bumper, stage left. Sorry, Daddy. Looks like he's gonna take the candy and run.
Well, that was contact with the wall there, causing an incomplete, going on the inside of inside clip number 1 towards the media pocket. And that is what happens when you stay in that zone just a bit too long. Let's take a look at this here one more time. Starts off pretty strong, gets on the throttle early there. And right here, he's pushing. He taps the wall, and then that causes him to not be able to make that transition in the right place coming down off of the bank. He sees that it's going to be offline, so he takes the incomplete. Here it is again. He doesn't tap until right about there. You can see some pieces fly off the car, and then really just the physics of the vehicle where it's pointed, he has no choice but to go off course and salvage the run at that point. So he will take that incomplete, and we will move on to James Dean.
Did you say Reese's Pieces? Here we go, moving on to James Dean, inspecting the wall. Looks like it is good outside of a Sylvia S15 taillight here. Thanks, Sopa, Matt Sopa, grabbing that piece. Thank you to all our hardworking staff and crew. As we are now getting into our top 3 drivers. James Dean. The Machine, Wordhouse Drift Team, Falcon Tires. S15 Sylvia turns it on, turns it up. A 95, can he better it? He has an 88 already in his back pocket. Woo-wee. Just licks the envelope and sends it into that crease, into the pocket. Kind of a wide swing there, but he does tighten it up. Ryan, that was definitely more fluid than Justin Pollock's. You know, Justin had that impact, you know, like that kind of amplitude, that X factor here. What do you make of James's run?
Well, you know, the judges, we've noticed this round, the judges have been allowing for a couple little minute mistakes if the run is very aggressive and is really maximizing angle in these really important sections, especially on the initiation, the bank, this section of the course here. James's run is pretty aggressive. He's not making many mistakes, if any mistakes at all. And really it's going to come down to how the judges interpret the overall aggressiveness of this run, putting it together from a line and angle perspective, and also factoring in the fluidity, the initiation, how early did he catch it. He already has a great score. He's got an 88. I'm sure this is going to break into the 90s. I don't know exactly where it's going to go. James has a number of #1 qualifications in years past, and this is going to be a challenge, I think, to the #1 qualification. Let's see.
All right, so an 88 on his first run, and on his second run, a 93, so it is not better than 95, but still a solid score, and I do agree with that as far as the impacts and what Justin brought to the table as compared to James Dean, and I definitely agree with the judges there, so good call, guys. So we are now into our #2, coming into this round of competition. Chris the Force Forsberg, and Chris Forsberg had an 87 on his first run. You can see he currently sits 13th, or in that unofficially area, 13th, 14th, depending on the outcome of the second run. So an 87 on his first run. The NOS Energy Drink 370Z on Nexen tires. Again, watch him and the Blackout Garage featuring him and Ryan Turk. See where these guys end up. Been calling these guys the Bone Zone outside of the Blackout Garage. Get in the zone, the Bone Zone. Here we go, fellas. Lights them up into that outer zone. High on the bank. Just a unique sounding exhaust. And into the crease. Doesn't get all the way out there. Very fluid from Forsberg. Just a unique overall sounding setup, but for this 15-year veteran of Forsberg in FD, Day one, again, 3-time FD champion. Ryan, does that better than 87? Does that get him in the 90s? Where's your head at?
I think it could be better than an 87. I don't think it's your #1 qualifier. But let's take a look at it again. I think the one thing I noticed from the initiation is the initiation was a bit hesitant and took a little bit longer to get back on throttle than some of the other guys in the mid 90s. But outside that, you can see a great line. Gets into the second outer zone. He gets on throttle early through the second outer zone. He stays on throttle. He draws a great line. He finishes up that zone. He's got good angle coming through this section. Back on throttle again, right through that outside touch and go, and then tight on that final section there. So I think this is a solid overall run. I don't think it's your #1 qualifier, but I think it could very well improve on that 87.
I definitely agree. So one more driver left. We will have our gum out autograph signing. That was to begin at 6, and obviously now local time at just about 6:30. And there's Forsberg. It does get him in the 90s. That's a 90 for Chris Forsberg. Puts him into the #8 position, bettering his 87 on his first run. So again, this is our final driver, our current points leader, former champion, Frederick Osbo. Consistency is key, and Chris Forsberg can attest to that. But Osbo, just multiple podiums this year, and just going for it. The target was on James Dean's back, and Osbo debuting a new vehicle under that Papadakis Racing team, operating both him and Castro's vehicle. Ryan?
Yeah, I was just going to say, for Justin Pollock, he's most definitely got to be watching very closely, because Frederick Osbo can very easily ruin your day right now.
No, totally, and he's done it before. James Dean has done it, but that's why he's currently sitting #1. Here we go, Frederick Osbo, the Rockstar Energy Drink. Nexen Tires, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla. This hot hatchback brings it to the wall. Into that transition, nice snappy. Into the crease. Look at that, just the posture of the car. And the attitude. Into that touch and go. And around that final front clip. There goes Frederick Osbo. Ryan, is that enough? I'm saying no.
Well, it was definitely very clinical, surgical, clean, not a lot of mistakes. Right. But I think the feeling of it, the impact of it, didn't have the impact of Justin Pollock. I also kind of want to say no, but this is an overall a strong run by Frederick Osbo, and maybe we'll eat our words here, but you can see he does a great job on the bank. He was early back on the initiation. He's solid here early on the throttle, entering outside zone 2, carrying a lot of speed here. Good angle from that little vehicle as he transitions through that outside touch and go. Great job there by Osbo, and again, he's got that 90. Let's see what it is. Scores are in.
Scores are in here. Is it enough? 92. I was going for the 91 estimation. Have Stefan Papadakis talking smack over here to us. I'm just kidding, not smack. Lovingly giving feedback. All right, so again, #1 qualifier, JTP, Justin Pollock in that Falcon Tires Ford Mustang. And remember the gum out GT4586. Thanks, Stefan, for pointing that out. The gum out, that's Turk over there. He's ripping around. So Ryan Turk is going to bring out his gum out Ferrari Toyota 86. There are the webcast times. Tomorrow, top 32 competition begins locally, 4:15. Top 16, national anthem, opening ceremonies at 8 o'clock. Thanks for joining us on behalf of Ryan Sage. All our judges and staff will have Lorette Nickel join us. Do you want to say anything, Ryan? You're good? Nah, you're done? It's fine. We're good. We're fine. Again, if you're here in the building, here comes Ryan Turk and his gum out GT4586. We'll see you online tomorrow. We'll see you another time here at the Advanced Auto Parts Gauntlet presented by Black Magic. Round 4 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Send it.